So, potato, potato on that one.
Yes.
So you've got a big mess if you become governor. You've got a big mess to clean up. And that's the problem with some of these things. And I made this comparison before. Donald Trump coming into office had a huge mess from the Biden administration to clean up. And they're very good at hiding their trails. It's like when Tim Walz leaves, whoever comes in next, should they want to find out, is going to have a hard time uncovering a lot of stuff that was done, repairing it and getting it to the direction. So my question to you is, what
what's this guy doing?
You would to change, a fact that you would like to change right in the beginning of your governorship?
Well, we have a lot of problems here in Illinois, as you suggested, the highest tax state in the nation, every category. Initial agenda item is to suspend our gas tax. We got a 50-cent gas tax here and no accountability for the spending. People are driving across borders all the time, filling the tanks up. When they do that, they eat out and they shop. Our property taxes are the highest in the nation. Our utility bills have recently spiked because of still planning with the data center. So our people need relief, and I'm telling you, that's what's going to open the door and usher us in to this seat of office.
So, okay, because I'm in New Jersey, so I thought we had the highest property taxes in the nation, followed by Illinois and then Connecticut, but I may be wrong. But regardless, we're fighting over first place because our effective property tax rate is 2.23%. And I think you guys are at 1.9, so almost 2%. So you've got that going for you. But whenever a politician comes in, and it's never going to happen in New Jersey because we're done. I mean, we're the California of the East. It's last one here. Last taxpayer here can turn out the lights. But to prevent your state from becoming that, when we talk about lowering taxes, it sounds great, but so many people benefit from those taxes. And when I say benefit, the money goes into their pockets, whether it's for something good or it's just being, funneled through an NGO somewhere. And they start to scream really, really loudly. So how do you cut taxes on certain things without then having a deficit in your state, without them making, debt and deficit worse?
Well, that's a great question because here in Illinois, we actually look for the fraud and the waste. I'm a downstate farmer, so I know about budgets. I know about cutting good deals. I know about hard work. I served a term as a state rep. I served a term as a state senator. During that time, that's what got me involved in our state income taxes bumped up 32% in 2018. I got kicked off. I started messaging, and all of a sudden, here I am. So in 2017, the Illinois state budget was $32 billion. Today it is $56 million. And I mean, just waste, fraud. J.B. Pritzker last year took $2.5 billion out of the budget to clothe, house, insure, and feed people who are here illegally. So, as you stated, I am that noisemaker on the other side of the aisle. And 2020, I sued J.B. Pritzker against the COVID shutdowns. I won that lawsuit. We reopened schools, we reopened businesses, we reopened churches. So there is a movement. 4 years ago, Chicago wasn't really where they're at today, and property taxes over the last 3 years have skyrocketed. So affordability, safety,
guy in front of me is a fucking
those are the issues that
liberal
people
idiot.
care about. And actually, as soon as I hang up with you, I am here at City Hall in Chicago, getting ready to address the council. So people are ready for change here in Illinois, and I think not only are we going to get Illinois back on the right track, but we are going to prevent J.B. Pritzker from running for president and destroying this nation as he has destroyed Illinois.
Oh, well, don't prevent him from doing
he's
that.
serious because he's lost a lot of weight. So looks like maybe he's been running. Get it, huh? I doubt it, but he's slimming down. I think he got tired of being made fun of for his girth, a la Chris Christie.
Yeah. There is no doubt his agenda. On November 4th, if we allow him to be reelected, he will be running for president. And this man, he is a trust fund billionaire. He's never bought anything. Yes. He's never managed anything. What short time he did spend managing the family assets, they removed him. So then he takes his money and he runs for governor of Illinois. So we have a dire situation here. But, as in 250 years ago when the people of New Jersey decided to stand up and say, we want something different, that's what's taking place here in Illinois. We've just got to we just got to, we got to help people just have confidence in government again, and I believe that can start here in Illinois.
Well, don't follow our lead. I'm just going to tell you that.
I know.
How much of that budget? You talked about how big the budget has gotten, right, in just a couple of years. How much of that is fraud? Do you even know how much of that is fraud in Illinois?
So, as a state senator, I called to draw up a resolution for a forensic audit. And our auditor general came to me and said, "Hey, Bailey, it's no big deal, but you can't do that." I mean, if you want to draft a bill as a state representative or senator, if I decide I want to draw up a bill to say, let's outlaw green paint, I can do that. But the process would not let me draft this resolution for a forensic audit because they'd say it cost about $10 million and it'd take about 10 years. And our budget, this $52 billion budget, is all lies within 5,000 pages. There are no numbers. It's all just, a lot of language and old laws that have never been, looked at or never had a sunset clause to. So I truly believe there is upwards to 10 to 15 billion. The COVID years when all the federal money was coming into these states, J.D. Pritzker, he squandered it. He spent it. That's why Indiana is in the position to lure the Chicago Bears out of Chicago and into Indiana because they manage their money properly. So, no, I don't think there's going to be a lot of cuts other than things that aren't working. I don't think there's going to be any taxes. I think we are going to be able to work with what we've had and just, manage it wisely.
New Jersey is being audited for the way Governor Murphy, lucky us, the way he used the COVID money that was taken from the federal government. They're currently being audited. I wonder if you could ask the federal government to do the same thing for Illinois, and then it doesn't cost you it won't take 10 years and cost you $10 million.
Yes, and I actually have. I was interviewed by Trump about a month ago, and I made that first announcement, and that was right on the heels of a lot of that fallout in Minnesota. And I truly, let's face it, when you think of corruption in Illinois, everybody puts their finger on Chicago, or corruption in this nation. Everybody puts their finger on Chicago and Illinois. It's just simply time to clean it up, and I look forward to doing that. A lot of people ask me, well, what is the plan? Well, go to blueprintforillinois.com, and you'll see the plan. I mean, it all lies within affordability, safety, and education. Our schools are broken. Our people aren't safe. It's a mess here.
So let's talk about schools, because the federal government, the Trump administration, is offering states a freedom tax credit for their education, the education freedom tax credit. And it's up to the states to decide whether they want to participate in this. And it would be used for school choice. So the money would follow the child as opposed to just going to a school. Where is Illinois on that?
So J.D. Pritzker, with his grand presidential ambition, spends every waking minute telling people that Trump will not release that funding, when in fact we all know that he refuses to apply for it because of any grant. If he applies for it, he'll have to be accountable for it. He'll have to show where it's spent, and by the way, he'll have to show these last several years under the Biden administration where that money was spent, and that's the problem with Illinois, because he will be in some serious trouble. That's why we need this national audit. I served 17 years on a local school board. My wife and I went on to a private Christian school. We must have school choice is good. While we build up, protect, and rescue public school, we also must have school choice. Right here in Chicago, there are 15,000 children suffering because JV, the state level of funding was called Invest in Kids. J.D. Pritzker refused to sign it into law 2 years ago. So children who are left out, children who need options, they're just being thrown into the system, and they're drowning and they're getting lost.
Yeah, and this ties in, school choice, in my mind, ties into what we were talking about with affordability, right? Like bringing down property taxes, making things more affordable. And we just had a guest on, we were talking about that as well. So making Illinois more affordable, again, it would make sense that school choice and that people would want school choice, because it would bring down your property taxes. I assume that your property taxes go to, a great chunk of it goes to your schools like they do here. And it's just, now it gets to follow the child. And so schools are going to have to compete. And when schools have to compete, like universities have to compete, it drives the costs down, right? So it seems like a no-brainer.
Yep, a parent should be able to decide where they want their children to be educated. A parent, that tax money should follow the child, and that is definitely heavy on the agenda. believe that the teachers' unions are just so powerful here in Illinois. They just control the day, and it's not about the children. It's about it's about the teachers, and unfortunately, at some kind or another, that got turned around. J.B. Pritzker in his state address that 2 months ago, he stated that state funding with our schools are at an all-time low, which as well, we are graduating. Our graduation rates are at an all-time high. Well, he's correct about both of those, even though, as he lies about it, because he pulled funding out from under the rug to the state level for the schools, so that schools had to go and raise the property taxes back up. Right. All the while, here in Illinois, it is illegal, or you cannot flunk or hold a child back anywhere. You just have to push them through the system. So where our future is being devastated because our children aren't prepared when they come out of school.
No, they come out and they're dumb as rocks. And they don't care. They think it's funny, and their parents clearly don't care either, which is surprising to me because with COVID, the silver lining of COVID, I've always said, was that parents finally realized what their kids were learning in school. And so, I think there is a section of society that would absolutely take advantage of that school choice voucher and would put their kid in a school where they think they would thrive far more than they do in the public schools. Is there a sector that will never pay attention? Absolutely. And you can't make people pay attention. There's just a sector that's just always going to do that, and that's fine. You're not going to change that. But it also goes into, I think, it spills over into our communities. And we saw what happened in the Chipotle. We were calling it team takeovers. No, it's rioting. We used to call it wilding and rioting. Now it's a team takeover. And so when you have that, when you get the parents involved in that way with their kids' education, getting parents involved in kids' education is fantastic, I think. We need it more. But doesn't that spill over into our communities then as well and gets parents more involved?
And that's exactly what I hope to do, is just wake people up, wake the church up, wake city groups up. Parents understand you have a role in this. Quit looking for government to fix your problems and take care of everything, because that's called socialism, and that's J.B. Pritzker's, agenda number one, and will be if he is able to run for president. So that's exactly hands-on, all hands on deck. Even here in Illinois, our voting turnout is low. The apathy that is fix that, and that's what we're working hard trying to make happen. And we are very confident. This governor's race in Illinois, I believe, is the most underestimated race in the nation, because it's Illinois, just because the Democrat Party's powerful, just because J.B. Pritzker's got more money than any elected official in the nation. I think we're going to be shocked and surprised when November rolls out and the people speak up and choose something different, choose something better for Illinois.
Yeah, absolutely. One last quick question for you. I know you're a farmer, and a part of the whole affordability thing, people are complaining about the price of beef. We have farms that are dying because it's easier to sell them and get the money and take the millions, because kids don't want to go into it anymore. Kids don't want that farm life. It's a hard life. It's a lot of work. Daddy, you can just sell the farm and pass millions on to me, and it's super easy. That's a short-sighted vision in my brain. How do we get more people involved in farming? I know it has nothing to do with your campaign, but I just wanted to ask you that question since you're a farmer.
Well, it really does. Even here in Chicago, the problem with poverty, the problem with these kids running around being crazy like they do, it's opportunity. We've got to get these children out, and we've got to put them to work and let them realize they can build something that feels good. It feels good when you put a day's work in, and that's exactly what farm life offers. And the interesting thing about it is food. Everyone has to have food to survive. So the Farm Bureau here in Illinois does an amazing job of a program called Ag in the Classrooms, and get state legislators from the city down into rural areas. It's all at number one, education, and then number two, it's just at some point in time, we the people, have to step up and get our hands dirty with this thing called government and just make it real. So, but to your point, heaven forbid that this corporate farming would ever take hold in America, because then we will be in trouble. But this way of farming is the backbone of our nation, and it's certainly the backbone of Illinois.
Absolutely, and the Chinese buying the land up there, but that's a whole other topic. I just wanted to get that in there when I saw that you were a farmer. That was one of the questions that I wanted to get in to talk about. And lastly, I hope you have some young people doing your social media and you're learning from Spencer Pratt. I think that's so important.
Yes, he's killing it, and we're killing it on social media right now until the money arrives. And please go to BaileyForIllinois.com. Check me out, get to know me, support our campaign. But until that arrives, I've got some amazing people that are just we're sharing something new every day on social media, and our traction is absolutely amazing. And you're right, that's where it's all at. It's free and it's powerful, it's impactful, and yes, here in Illinois, I get the texts and emails from Spencer Pratt as well. It's pretty impressive. So we're trying to do the same thing.
Fantastic. I'm glad to hear you get a bunch of kids to do it for you and they could get school credit or something. So that's fantastic. Darren Bailey, I wish you the best. You can follow him on X at Darren Bailey, BAILEYIL for Illinois, or go to BaileyForIllinois.com. Best of luck to you and thank you for your time today. Have a great rest of your week.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right, you come up next, 866-957-2874, 866-95 Patriot. Got lots of calls waiting. Anything we talked about so far on the show, we'll open it up. I have a couple other things to throw out here. Or you can tag me in a post on X at Mary Walter Radio. You are coming up next on the David Webb Show.
The Will Count Majority. Coming up right after the David Webb Show, Julie Kelly joins me to talk the Anti-Weaponization Fund, and Bruce Blakeman, the Nassau County Executive running for Governor of New York, joins me. That's after 11. The Will Count Majority coming up next at noon East after the David Webb Show on SiriusXM Patriot. Results may vary and are not guaranteed. Person's eligibility requirements apply. Text and data rates may apply. Is alcohol affecting your work, health, and relationships? At Choose Your Horizon, we offer a simple, private way to access FDA-approved medication, a daily pill that is proven to reduce alcohol cravings. 86% of patients report drinking less or quitting in just 12 weeks. Find freedom from alcohol with Choose Your Horizon. To get your free same-day doctor consultation, text PATRIOT to 54504. Again, text PATRIOT to 54504. Text PATRIOT to 54504. The older you get, the more things change, especially with your body. From pregnancies and slower workout recoveries to sore backs and other health issues. That's why you need a Sleep Number smart bed. It was designed to last 25 years and to support your body through all its changes over all those years. You can adjust your own firmness or softness, making it a great bed for couples. And the bed contours to your body movements while you sleep, so you sleep comfortably and restfully all night long. Take your sleep to the next level. You can find Sleep Number smart beds exclusively at your local Sleep Number store or at sleepnumber.com. And now it's the Everything on Sale Memorial Day event from Sleep Number. Every bed and every base is on sale now. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store and online. Visit a Sleep Number store near you or learn more at sleepnumber.com. For J.D. Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. Business owners, tired of slow banks, piles of paperwork, and credit-based loan denials? At Signet, funding is not your credit score. No red tape, no waiting weeks, just fast access to capital with real people who understand small business. You need to be in business at least 1 year and $50,000 a month or more. Get started at signetfunding.com. No cost, no obligation. That's
Are you coming over, dude?
Funding.com. Signetfunding.com. They can't tell you what hurts.
Wake the fuck up.
The stiffness, the anxiety, the slowing down. As pet owners, we do anything to help them feel better. My name is Mark Fox. I'm the founder of Arizona Health. That's why we created Vibe for Pets, a gentle, drug-free way to support mobility, calm the nervous system, and promote recovery. No sedation, no harsh side effects. For dogs, for horses, for the animals who give us everything. Visit vibeforpets.com. That's vibeforpets.com. They'd do it for you if they could. Never get old. Celebrating America 250. SiriusXM Patriot 125. Is the authority. This is the David Webb Show.
Surprise.
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised at all because the bottom line is this.
Donald Trump is the general of the Republican Party, and the Republican primary voters are his soldiers. And if you look at Thomas Massey, you can see it very clearly. You look in 2020, 2022, 2024, he was getting 75%, upwards of 81% of the primary vote in 2020. And today, he gets less than 50% of the vote. That's the story. That was incredible because you look at it so consistent time after time after time. And then, wow, look at tonight. Donald Trump, thank you.
There you go, Donald Trump. He is the head of the party. Donald Trump is the Republican Party, Harriet. Not surprised at all by Massey getting spanked. And it was bad. I mean, he really had been ahead like every year, as Harriet said, every time, 80% of the vote, 76% of the vote, whatever. And this time, boom, got spanked hard, which, I think he kind of brought that up on himself, on his own. I really do. I think he brought that on his own. So let's want to talk a little bit about last night. I just want to put that out there. I want to go to cut 7, Edwin. This I want to play for you. This is the RNC chair, Joe Gruters. And he's talking about what the Republicans are doing to secure the elections ahead of the midterms. Oh, happy day that the Republicans are actually doing something proactively to try to prevent shenanigans, which is a word that we do not use often enough, to prevent shenanigans and hijinks in the 2026 midterms. So here's Joe Gruters.
The Democrats are trying to cheat every single day. That's why we have to have 130 lawsuits. We're bringing the hammer wherever we can. 32 states where we have lawsuits because the Democrats are trying to cheat every single day. It doesn't matter if it's redistricting. It doesn't matter if what they've done is they've allowed tens of millions of illegals to come across our border, and they're trying to figure out ways
Good morning.
to get them to vote, and that's why we're always after making sure we have integrity in the system,
Hey, Iggy.
confidence in the democracy.
How's my birthday? It was good.
People in place.
Had a good birthday.
Staffed in 17 states.
Spent it with the family.
Continue our strong litigation effort to make sure
Went out to eat.
Beat back
It was a good birthday. Got a refrigerator.
that have been ongoing for decades in terms of trying to
Got a refrigerator that sang to me.
So they have 130 lawsuits. Maybe Republicans are learning from Democrats.
Oh, jeez, I'm behind this
Maybe
cattle hauler.
somebody on the RNC said, look what Mark Elias does. Maybe we should get in on that. Maybe we should do that. So I'm glad. Because someone is waking up and saying, hey,
usually this is David Webb, but apparently he's on vacation or something.
And
see if I can find something else in a minute. Once
I think
my shit together. Oh shit, there goes my phone.
Donald Trump has been proven right every single time when he said something was a hoax or this was real, and everybody said, you can't prove it. And what happens years later? Boom, it comes out. And Trump was right. Trump was right. All right, we're going to go through this. Also, anything we talked about earlier in the show, we'll jump in here with that as well. You can also tag me, as I said, on X at Mary.
Yeah, I got a year older. That's about it.
Let's go to Jim, who is in Kentucky. Jim, welcome. You're on the David Webb Show. Hi.
Hey, how are you this morning?
I'm doing just great. So what happened in Kentucky? You guys spanked Massey.
I really don't know as a collective. I myself was not really enthused about either candidate.
Yeah.
I did not like Gilroy because, one, I know nothing about the man except he put out a negative ad campaign.
Then do research. That's how you do it.
On TV and everything for Thomas Massey is this and Thomas Massey's that.
New beginning.
And I never saw him say, I'm going to do this or I'm going to do that. Flip side, Massey never said anything except he bragged about the Epstein files. And to me, the Epstein files are Democrat bones. They throw it to get the general public to go chasing after it and not pay attention to what they're doing at the time. So I really don't see that Massey really has accomplished anything lately either. So that's what I think that's what a lot of it came down to was people's speculation. And I think because Kentucky is a rural state, even though we do have some major metropolitan areas of Louisville and Lexington that carry a lot of weight in the voting. I think the fact that he's a farmer carried a lot of weight.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that he's retired military carried a lot of weight because we have a lot of retired military in Kentucky.
Yeah, so I just went to his webpage, Galbraith's webpage, and there's a lot of working with the Republican Party to do this, working with the Republican Party. He wants to secure a defense Second Amendment rights from being, the right to protect and bear arms without compromise.
He got knocked off. That's weird.
He is pro-life. He wants to work with the Republican
That's where I want
Party
you anyway,
for
man.
Border Patrol and ICE, etc. So I think what he's saying is, I'm not going to buck the Republican Party the way Thomas Massie did. And I think a lot of people were very angry at Massie, and I was. I said, you may not get everything you want, but when a man is hungry, you give him half a loaf of bread. If you can't, even if you don't walk away and say, well, I can't have the whole loaf, I'm just going to continue to go hungry. And I think both Massie and Paul do that to a certain extent. And I get angry when they don't represent their constituents. Kentucky voted for Donald Trump. So you should represent your constituents, not what you personally think is right or what you personally want. It's your job to be a representative. Represent. And I don't think Massie did that, and I don't think Rand Paul does on a lot of occasions either. Give Trump half a loaf of bread at least. It may not be what you want, but for the love of God, pass the SAVE Act. Would it kill you to pass the SAVE Act?
Yeah.
The growth rings.
Absolutely, especially the SAVE Act. But you throw Rand Paul in there, and he is as far as I'm concerned, he's a mixed bag of emotions.
Some years will definitely be wider than others.
A lot of the things that he does on the surface looks.
They got to stop growing
negative for his
vertically, and now I'm growing horizontally. So.
Explaining himself on a lot of things, but I've dug into that, and excuse the noise going on around here because I'm.
That's okay. We don't hear it. We don't hear it.
I'm putting up a fence right now. Unless you do some digging, you don't see why he's done a lot of things he's done. And for a lot of bills, I'm like, why in the heck did you vote no on that bill? Well, you start digging, and it's got so much pork tied on to the end of it. Yeah. I know exactly why he did not vote for it. And then I said everybody else vote for it.
No, and Jim, you're right. We got to rub it. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate your time. Thank you. But here's the thing. I get it, but that's how Washington works. I don't like that. I would love to see clean bills. We would all love to see clean bills. Just this issue, like just to say that no pork attached to it, no bowl, security, blah, blah, blah. Just the bill, like just this. And we're never going to get it. So I think part of it is understanding the job you've signed up for. You signed up for a job where
I'm going to try and leave you guys
attached to it, because I understand that's Rand Paul's thing. I get it. But in the meantime, he's going home.
Connected with me while I'm setting up the internet at this facility here.
Because he can't get the food he wants for it. He can't get exactly what he wants.
Actually,
so
2 buildings.
Nothing. And that's
one I was at last week, and one I was at a couple weeks ago. We're setting up internet on both of them.
Everything. I'm like, I'm paying for shrimp on treadmills. I look forward to his Festivus celebration with all of the pork that is being spent in Washington, D.C., because it makes me a smarter person. I enjoy that, and I think it's terrible, and I want to see it stop. But we also have to accept the fact that maybe we can't get that done right now. Maybe we get some of it done, but you're never going to get everything you want. And everybody's got to understand that. And sometimes you have to take the L on some things in order to get a win on something else. In my opinion.
Yeah, they're just houses.
From citizens,
they're going to be like sober living houses. So.
Nixon said regarding our last guest, regarding the tax.
They're not too far from the main facility there in Cleveland. So.
Americans for Tax Reform. He said property taxes. The devil is a deal. It's a deal with the devil with a mortgage that never ends. Property taxes are the eternal mortgage. Yeah, and my property taxes are far more than my mortgage payments. Far more than my mortgage. It's ridiculous. So you can afford the house, you can afford the mortgage, but you can't afford the tithe to rent the property on which your house sits. You can't afford the rent for the property which you supposedly quote unquote own. And then when you sell it, you have to give the government a portion of the proceeds of the sale that you've been paying rent for. Think about it. It's insane.
Wow. Well, there's that
on school choice, if everyone chooses the best schools.
I was wondering what that's that semi trailer that's actually a fucking cop. Supposed to be getting people for distracted driving and stuff.
I'm in Illinois. This is Magdalena. Oh, Donald.
Illegal CDL drivers.
Voting for Darren Bailey, but we need a stronger MAGA candidate that we plan on winning. I have seen many times with Darren.
I don't know if you saw that, the blue lights flashing on that trailer.
In Illinois, we gotta learn a lesson from Thomas Massey, in other words. On the Trump's tax cuts, every tax savings were offset by gas prices, tariffs, and new inflation numbers. Republicans are in trouble. The only hope is that Democrats are just crazy. Yeah. All right. Thank you for the comments too, as well, everybody. Okay, I do want to get to also some of what more that went on like yesterday. So yesterday also, I want to go to 7, I believe it is here. I think it's 7. That's what I wrote on my sheet.
Was that you that sent me the link to that? I don't know who it was.
I think we did it. All right. Well, anyway, Donald Trump. Yes, I already played it. So Donald Trump also yesterday, just to mix things up, finally made an endorsement.
Ohio's known for that.
All right. Now he had to choose between Paxton and Cornyn. So Ken Paxton and John Cornyn. Ken Paxton is the Texas Attorney General. John Cornyn's the incumbent. Neither one of them is a bucket of roses, okay? Both of them got their own stuff. Both of them have baggage. So it was a choice of whose Samsonite was prettier. And he chose to endorse Ken Paxton. On the Truth Social, he said, "I know Ken well. We have seen him tested at the highest and most difficult levels, and he's a winner. Ken is a strong supporter of terminating the filibuster and very, very importantly, the Save America Act. Ken is a true MAGA warrior who has always delivered for Texas and will continue to do so in the United States Senate.
You sent me a lot of stuff, so I didn't know if it was you. Maybe I just came across it.
He's a fighter, and he knows how to win. Our country needs fighters and also loyalty to the cause of greatness." Cornyn had been on the other side of the filibuster. He backed calls to weaken the filibuster, to weaken it, but not get rid of it. And he did champion the SAVE Act, but maybe it was too late. On Monday, he told reporters that he thought the ship had sailed for Trump to make an endorsement. And here's the problem. This is where why I think Ken Paxton got the endorsement is because Republican establishment figures like Senate Majority Leader John Thune, who is just a thorn in Donald Trump's side, had begged Donald Trump to throw his weight behind Cornyn. And I think, and I'm of the, I keep saying I understand how John Thune, how they voted for him to become the majority leader. Don't get it. I think it was a huge mistake. He's never Trumper, always has been, and he clearly still is. Trump looked at that and go, "Oh, John Thune likes him. I'm out. I'm not backing this guy." I think that's what happened. Now, they argue that Paxton is going to face a tougher battle in the general election because of his past scandals. And
yes, but he's been cleared from all of them.
He faces a tough matchup against this Tallarico guy. How this Tallarico kid is even getting traction is beyond me. I don't understand it. Check that guy out. That's a whole other conversation. But back in 2015, Ken Paxton was indicted on securities fraud charges from before he was the Texas Attorney General. And those charges were later dismissed in a pre-trial diversion agreement. We don't know what it was. In 2023, he was impeached over allegations that he obstructed justice in that securities fraud case going back to 2015. And that he gave preferential treatment to a donor. He made false statements against whistleblowers and misappropriated public resources, among other concerns. During the trial, he was suspended from his duties as the state AG, but ultimately, he survived the impeachment proceedings in the Senate. And then he backed Trump in 2020, which won him more support. He took legal action against the Biden administration at least 106 times. Remember, he kept fighting about the border and the river, and remember, he kept putting up like razor wire and the floating things in the middle of the river.
Oh, that was the governor, but he upheld it.
That and just giving the Biden finger, the Jersey salute, giving on the bird. Cornyn, who served as a Texas Supreme Court justice, and he was also state AG from 1999 through 2002, had suggested that Trump shouldn't run for re-election in the 2024 cycle due to his legal issues. So right there, Trump wasn't going to like it. Trump did say John Cornyn's a good man. I worked well with him, but he was not supportive of me when times were tough, and despite me having the most successful economy in the history of our country during my first term. So that's where it all went sideways for John Cornyn. And I don't think it helped, as I said, that he had the backing of Thune and Susan Collins and Lindsey Graham. He's Lisa Murkowski. Lindsey Graham, I don't like. He plays both sides of the fence. He's a chameleon. I get bad vibes off of him. He's the guy that I'm like, I'm not leaving you alone with the family silver. So Cornyn posted on X after the endorsement, I've worked closely with President Trump through both of his...
Oh, no, man. I enjoy that. You just sent me a lot, so I was trying to place whether or not I found that about the little undercover. It's not really undercover, the little semi that trolls the turnpike here, or if you had sent me something on it. So
we got all these.
I enjoy the stuff you send me.
Out there, take a break. I'll get your calls, I promise. In Georgia, Raffensperger got spanked. And have you noticed people who go against Trump? Trump endorses the opponents. They go down, not all the time, but Trump's got something like a 90-some-odd% winning streak. I mean, he's doing really well. I think he did really, really well this election cycle.
I'll try and bring up.
Posted on X. Trump endorsed candidates went 37-0 last night, a perfect night across multiple states. 100% win rate for the endorsed slate. Pennsylvania 10-0, Georgia 9-0, Alabama 6, Kentucky 6.
Need 3 more unique shadows.
So
we need to. If Mitty or anyone else goes live, I need to try and get 3 people into here.
I know I don't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it. I don't want to get my hopes up because I'm always disappointed. But I think a lot depends on what happens with the economy and the price of gas. If they can get that down, I think Republicans are going to do well in the midterms. But let's get back to Raffensperger. You know, is no friend of Trump during the 2020 election. Well, if they have like the jungle primary where the top 2 vote getters are the ones that go head to head, whether
let me see if I can pull it up.
Republicans, whatever. He came in 3rd on the Republican side. All right, he only got 14% of the vote, but Trump's backed candidate was Lieutenant Governor Burt. All right, he only got 14.
I don't know why the fucking sound went over to that. Illinois. That's something different. Yeah. I was talking about the semi thing. Yeah. The assistive technology program. Yeah, that's to do with your tablet and stuff, right, or whatever you're supposed to get. Let's just, instead of fucking bringing that back up, let me back to this. Arms off. Let's go to dashboard. Come on, dude. I don't know why my shit is not working right here. There we go. For some reason, it said I had 8 tabs open. There's no way I was even close to 8 tabs. Let's get Crowder up. There we go. Crowder's not there.
I want to go through this, and you want to go through this, is to say, here's our justification, here's our validation for believing the way that we do.
Yeah.
You can take that or you can leave that. We just want you to hear both sides of the story. Not that we think you're stupid or that we're always correct, but this is our interpretation, and take that and compare it to what you've already learned and see where you end up. Maybe you end up with us, maybe you don't. But this is not talked down to anybody that voted for Thomas Massey.
Right. My passion is in the why. My passion for this story is, why did Thomas Massey lose? And I don't dislike people like Thomas Massey in general. I just don't think they're very effective. So if you want to be more effective, you have to listen and go through this instead of just blaming Israel and blaming the Epstein files, which brings us to, he insinuated that Donald Trump was protecting pedophiles, and that's why the files weren't released.
How do you explain to voters why the president is fighting your discharge petition or fighting the release of this documents from the Justice Department.
Well, I vote with my party 91% of the time, which means I have agreed with the president 91% of the time. But when they're protecting pedophiles, when they are blowing our budget, when they're starting wars overseas, I'm sorry, I can't go along with that.
Now, that seems like a principled stand, and I would say that it is in some ways. We don't like the fact that everybody agrees pedophiles bad, right? I don't care who they are, by the way. I don't care how powerful, who they are, what kind of leverage they have over this country. Bring them down.
But where's the proof that he's protecting them?
Opinion, fine, fantastic.
He said
for that. But
show them.
We looked, and I don't really know that we found anything at all throughout the Biden term that he mentioned about releasing the Epstein files, at least not with the same vigor. If you could find it, please let me know. I'd like to know.
It was a non-issue for him.
Didn't seem like it was that big of an issue. And so my question is, why now? Why now when the president of the United States is actually trying to do that? It seems by all accounts that he was trying to do that. He talked about it in the lead up to his election. It was one of the things that people say he betrayed them on.
But it wasn't even, this was not a major campaign promise with Donald Trump. Yeah, we all wanted them released, but of course, he didn't campaign on, I'm going to do this.
Yeah, the OSP
released because
yeah, exactly. So where was this under Joe Biden is my point.
Yeah.
That's what we see.
That's what I was talking about.
You can still have a problem like we do with the rollout and with the lack of transparency.
I'm going to actually play
really
that
to get
because
to this and people not being put in jail. I'm with you 100%. But when
you're not getting direct links, you're getting your Google search link. That's okay, though.
Okay. You're probably going to piss off a lot of people. Now, you on X, you'll probably seem like you're in the majority. But X isn't reality.
Okay, let me go back, bring up that link. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. It was at that rest stop there, that truck. All the lights were blinking on the trailer and stuff. I think they were just doing like a show of force with it. Here.
The Ohio State Highway Patrol is reaching new heights.
Toledo,
to catching you
Toledo
behind the
TV
wheel
station.
doing bad things.
Yeah.
Troopers say a new semi will give them a higher view of traffic and make it easier to spot speeding, distracted driving, and drivers who are following too closely. One trooper rides in the cab watching for the violations and then radios ahead to a fellow trooper waiting to make the stop.
Yeah.
State leaders say the push comes as more than 20 construction projects are underway across the Ohio Turnpike this season.
Oh, yeah. We're running into them constantly. Oh, there was a bigger story on it, but yeah, that's basically the gist of it. So the Pistons lost, and then last night the Walleye lost to be out of the playoffs. So we got no more teams in the playoffs. All we got is the Tigers, who were just stumbling with their 4 out of 5 starting pitchers injured. So hopefully we have a turnaround with that. Either way, all right, we'll go back to Crowder. I don't know if anything else that is playing that I really want to listen
to. Because Thomas Massey's incredibly popular on X, but he lost the vote. Fishback is incredibly popular on X. He's probably fantastic. See the coalition building? I don't know that I would have said that a couple of years ago. Probably because I wasn't paying as much attention to the issue as I should have been. But throughout this entire conversation, I got educated on exactly what AIPAC was. I got educated on exactly how it works. I got educated on how much money we actually send to Israel. And I got educated on
I thought they were ahead of Milwaukee.
Isn't that what we were supposed to be doing here?
Let me see.
Do you know how many people that are like me?
Check out my standings. I think we're about 5
on some of these issues.
5 games behind.
Would have been right there.
I mean, that's easily surmountable. We were way ahead last year and almost blew it at the end. So.
Stop giving money to Israel?
When I say we, I talk about the Tigers. I'm not talking about me playing.
It's always Israel. It's Israel, everything, all the time. You start to lose people because they're like, wait a minute, that's not That doesn't seem real. That seems like
Yeah,
this
I like
guy is just
Crowder
kind of
too.
coming up with these crazy conspiracy theories. Or at the very least, he's saying things that he can't provide evidence on, and I don't really know what to think because I've got a family and I've got a job, and I don't really have a ton of time to pay attention to politics.
They were doing great at home, and now they're not. They can't even win at home anymore.
That's not how you build a coalition, and it's proving to be true in reality. But one of the things
$7.5 games behind now.
Against him, obviously, and they spent money.
Well, when you lose to Cleveland, who's in first,
$15 million. I've seen numbers as high as $33 million. I don't know if that's a combined
total ad spend.
Okay.
And I believe that AIPAC itself was about $7 million, and then pro-Israel donors into other PACs about $9 million. Adelson was about $9 million.
Okay.
So
Still a lot of money going into it.
Yeah, Milwaukee's in front.
So it's a lot.
Well, the Cubbies are only a half game behind, and they got a 29-20 record. It's better than our division leader. So that whole division's pretty decent.
Right. And I understand
last place in your division is at 500.
It's a district that's going to vote Republican. Whoever wins the primary.
That's a good division. Solid teams all around.
That's why money went into this. But Massey doesn't have the corner on this issue. Right. His biggest donor is Jeff Yass, the founder of
they've been not doing great. They're like 2-8 in the last 10, and Milwaukee's 8-2. That's why it's only a half game difference. So.
Israeli think tank. A think tank involved in American politics, in addition to Israeli politics.
My Tigers are 2-8 in the last 10 as well.
In this race, that guy
fucking tied for last place with Kansas City, but
like that guy for other
still only
reasons
7.5 games out. So
in his
a lot of season left.
$$1 billion+ position in ByteDance, the parent company. The issues that we have here are on both sides. Take a hard look at this. But here's the solution that's being presented by Massey supporters right now in light of his loss.
I mean, their hitting's been doing okay. It's just their
Democrat.
Their pitching has been horrible.
Here's a
like all their stars are hurt. Screwball's hurt. He had to have surgery. Verlander pitched one time, and he's on the disabled list.
Democrats winning the House is the midterms in the midterms isn't about agreeing with their okay. It's about the bigger picture. If Republicans keep the House, the current neocon, warmongering, and big spending agenda will have a completely clear runway. But if Democrats win, the federal government hits a brick wall. They will paralyze the administration, tie up the cabinet in constant investigations, hopefully imprison some monsters like Hegseth, and slow the legislative machine to a crawl.
I'm hoping we can at least beat this guy today. He's 0-6 with a 4.15 ERA.
Vote Democrat. That's the best.
We'll probably give him his first win.
We have a system
to put Hegseth in prison.
Oh yeah, that's true. Monsters like Hegseth. We have a system that you can participate in, and you can put forward the very best candidate that you can find. Guess what? If you're so right, and if you're so pure, that everybody, once they see the facts,
it is legal.
Support your guy.
And just sports betting, just because we've had gambling here for a long time, but
a race.
I think last year they made the sports betting legal. Maybe the year before, maybe like 2 years ago.
You blame the swamp.
It became a big thing for a little while, and
which seems like
I'm not a big sport. I mean, I'll do personal bets with people.
Instead of taking a hard,
that's a good ERA for being 0-6. That means he's had no run support. He'll get run support with our pitching, though.
You will miss the lesson.
I mean, right now it says it's 6:40 today, and the Tigers pitcher says to be announced. That's how decimated our pitching is. We don't even know who's pitching today.
I'm not a go
at noon.
To get along kind of guy. We call out President Trump when he screws up. We have a good Trump, bad Trump segment for crying out loud. Whenever we hear Ted Cruz open his mouth on Israel, I recoil. I don't care what he says about that. I think he should be a senator that represents Texans and doesn't give a damn about the interests of Israel. Unlike what he said he was going to the Senate to do. That pisses me off. But you can't just go Israel bad every single time.
Yeah.
You've got to have a plan. You've got to have a purpose in what you're doing. Stop with these supposed victories for show. Well, we didn't win, but we took a principled stance and Joe can't resign. What did that do? It took the guy that was chief of counterterrorism in the United States, some would say an important position, and put him on the sideline. But hey, he can go do podcasts, and he can go on Sean Ryan and talk about how he was a principled man and how this shouldn't have happened. What did that change? I don't think it changed a lot at all. And if you keep having that strategy, you will never change anything. Work within the system that you have. Put people into these primaries that can win. Even Nick didn't like the opponent that Vivek Ramaswamy had. And he's India, for crying out loud. That should have been an easy one for you guys. Change your strategy.
Yeah, most of the casinos do it.
All of these other factors.
And then they have a bunch of online stuff too. Like the FanDuels and all the others. ESPN has their own.
Inconsistencies on how he was voting, and he went against Trump on something that was really stupid to go against.
When it first became legal, I did the free accounts where you just put in $20. They give you $100 of betting. I lost it all. So I was like, yeah, I'm done.
To make sure that the United States would not reach the debt limit, and then we can have a conversation about it. Well, outside of that, I don't want to hear it.
Maybe don't insinuate that the president is or is protecting pedophiles with zero evidence of those claims. Because if you don't want the ire of the executive branch on you, maybe you should not have done that. What do you want to cite? Unsubstantiated FBI reports that the Biden administration looked at and said these are the most uncredible? What is it?
Uncredible.
Uncredible? Yeah.
Incredulous
testimony that we've ever seen.
Yes.
And smear the names of other people that are actually...
Yeah, he went to the floor, by the way, and read names out. And it was 4 random people that just happened to be in a lineup that he doxed, essentially. It's like, these people, go after them. It's like, okay, that's fantastic. Do you see what happens?
That's the morally reprehensible stuff that he did with that.
Yeah.
And I do think, again, I'm not going to come at any Thomas Massey voter. Nope. Because I understand the libertarian draw. I completely do. I don't agree with it, but I get it. Thomas Massey is not a good dude, and he's a dork. And so if they want to run him in 2028, good luck with that.
Yeah.
But do your best, I suppose.
Well, so, and that's my final point, and then we'll get moving here. Is that do you think that in 2028?
I don't. Yeah, you need licensing for that though. It's and I don't know if that affects the liquor license at all either. So that's
You think it's going to be in 2 years?
We'll see. I don't know. We're going to learn on that, but
probably not going
to actually have let's place at the bar. I don't think that's a good idea. We do it. We make enough money with we'll be making enough money with the lottery. Oh wow, that sign's in the middle of the fucking road. See that sign hanging into the road there? Someone's gonna smack the fuck out of that. Well, these people are merging on. Let me stay over here.
But I hate this strategy of vote Democrat.
Yeah, that's you got it. That's gaming commission is. There's 3 commissions. There's the alcohol. There's lottery, which is not the gambling. And then there's gaming commission. So you got 3 different groups there.
I'll get down on my soapbox and.
Yeah, I mean that's your revenue is liquor, so we don't want to screw that up. In fact, I need to get on my fucking partner to go get fingerprinted. He needs to go get fingerprinted.
There's no good way sometimes to kind of transition from a serious moment into hey, 50 free Rumble Premium subscriptions, just given to you by Tax Network USA. Stop waiting on the IRS letters or frozen accounts. You know who you are out there. You've sent in letters to us. Call 866-686-1417 or visit tnusa.com/Crowder. Click the link in the description. And by the way, if you just get this, take a screenshot, tag us on X at @SCrowder or on Instagram and let us know. We like giving back to you guys because we love you and we want better
Tax Network USA.
All right, and we've only got a couple of minutes here, so before I keep going too long into this, we'll start the next segment. Just wanted to say thanks. I know we got a rate hanging around with us. If you are a
but here you have to go to the sheriff's department to do it.
Sign up today, $99 annually or $9.99 a month.
Is that a fingerprint? Yeah, that is a fingerprint.
Right here, the
We back. I appreciate you, man, because I don't notice it a lot of times when it's happening, especially when I'm in traffic. Yeah. Gotta switch lanes before I flip the camera. Getting a haircut tomorrow, finally. Yeah, I like using that one every once in a while instead of the crossed out indoctrination. See, that's the thing that I've been trying to tell Mitty that, instead of losing the whole stream, all you got to do is reset it and it pops right back up once the signal returns. It'll hold that for a long time. I mean, I've switched devices. You've seen me do it. I've gone from the mobile to my laptop. 15 minutes later, and it still pops right back up. So I need to convince him. He's like, I got a good friend of mine that's going to help me with that. I'm just like, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah.
I love doing this. I have fun.
So T-Mobile's just absorbing them, or how's that going to work?
Again, my passion for the Thomas Massey segment is not.
I've seen a new one out, the Total Wireless. I've seen a bunch of stores popping up with them. I think they're just another new discount
Like we got to book them
service.
Or it's all Israel. It's always doing this because that's a defeatist kind of mentality. It doesn't really.
I mean, like he would make it back in the first day. The $10.
So that's my heart for this. Is that I do want some.
I mean, I would even donate it to him. Oh shit, I'm about to lose this lane.
That's you, one of our viewers.
Get over.
Fantastic, but there's a way to get there, and there's a way to make sure that you get there, and there's also a way to screw this thing up really bad. That's
another construction zone.
It would be nice to have a legitimate conservative outsider come in and change things up.
For sure.
I think we would all be really down to consider voting for a person like that.
Yeah.
But
the risks are so high of having the Dems come in. That's why I got pissed off at Lila Rose Grace, because she was pissed off about the abortion stuff. I'm like, do you understand what Democrats would do? Do you understand if you do leverage Trump into a place where his base?
Oh no, I know he is. Believe me. The thing is though, I could. It would take a minute to do it, but his little overlays that he uses on his stream, he could use that with Rumble Studio. Rumble Studio allows that. You can use overlays. I just don't, because I don't do it as much. I don't do if it was a professional drive every time, if it didn't change constantly. That's the wrong spot. Someone's put not there. That's the wrong spot. Someone else needs to put in a new one. Yeah, I like his artwork. It's just an overlay, and you can use overlays. There's actually if I click on design, there's a plus sign to add in overlays. So if I just like I don't do it that much on mobile. I do it a lot on desktop. All that stuff, the banners.
So the 250th anniversary.
Hey, you got a nice chest, bud.
No, I wasn't saying that.
Very sexy.
There he is.
Well, you can share screen here too on mobile.
That's different.
That's different. They just added that to the mobile. So if I go to design, dynamic overlays. You could, the shirts, the backgrounds. Yeah, they're all there. Then he doesn't have to use the. He made for Kick though. I think Kick still requires you to use that Restream. Kick is so fucking weird, but you can still use the RTMP through Restream. I mean, he's paying for Restream anyway, just to bring the chat over. I mean, he gets really any views on Kick. I do, just because I follow him. I pop in there once in a while and say hi. But
that's one of those places in the country, yes. One of the biggest ones. I hate Tier 1. I hate them. New Jersey. Yes, we have to just not let it. And one of the ways you can not let it, if you're like in Dearborn, start selling pork all the time and refuse. Get armed guards if you have to. Sell alcohol and pork and be open on whatever day they don't want you to be open on. You can push back just culturally as well. And one of the ways that I want to do that is wearing I am proud to be an American stuff. Doesn't always have, it's not always our stuff. I think we have.
I think I'm one of his longest standing continuous subscribers. It's over 2 years.
I think everybody should fly the American flag on their house. And if it pisses people off, fantastic. It identifies the people.
I mean, it's the lowest version, but still.
We need more pride in this country to be shown and demonstrated in how we act. And people showing up at school boards all over the place, voicing their opinion about this. I understand where that's coming from. We need to avoid what we see kind of in our next story here that San Diego, the mosque shooters, they created a manifesto. And
I get it. I mean, it seems like
but as we said,
when they get a little bit older like that, though, it's a continuous maintenance thing. So, I mean, once in a while you can maybe do a complete overhaul, but
objectives are.
That's why my business partner makes so much money. He sells parts for those.
So we want to try to handle it before people get to the point where they think they have to do that. But before you just say that
a freaking oil change costs almost $1,000 for a fucking semi.
So. We need to change it. Every one of them were saying that yesterday.
There's a reason that it's not.
It's not. They're not talking about it.
It's $100 for my truck.
At all that I've seen. 75 pages of an angry diatribe written by both shooters, listing among other things, them being anti-Jew, anti-Islam, anti-Trump, anti-conservative, anti-liberal, anti-gay, anti-woman. That's just about everything. They didn't say anti-man. Maybe it's a troll job. You could be right. There's a lot of antis in there. We're taking them at their word as of right now, but let me just pull a quote, and this is a troll job. It's fantastic. They describe Jews as the universal enemy, which means they probably shouldn't hate Islam, but they describe Middle Easterners and Islams as the bioweapons of the
that's what he does. He does. It's called Wolverine trucking or truck groupers or auto parts or whatever.
Big fan of the.
Only thing that sucks about it is he's got to drive up to Michigan every day.
Yeah, you see what happens?
It's not that far.
I'm not trying to hide it here. Yeah, no, I can dish it out. I can't take it.
I just opened up my work email. For some reason, the font has changed on it.
This is going to seem like just nonsense about nonsense, but this is the third world of slop that people like Sneeko and even Tucker. I'm not blaming Sneeko or Tucker Carlson. No. But it is that third world is the West bad, writ large. We need some third world issue. That is what this ideology is most akin to.
Yeah.
Again, Tucker Carlson did not cause this.
No.
But I digress.
They also hated women. That's not the quote. After the Jew, the most evil creature in this world is the woman. I do consider myself a misogynist and hold a lot of hatred in my heart for the female population. And to be fair, I certainly was quite involved in the online incel culture.
You gotta clip part of that.
No. You gotta do that. When you're reading a quote, quotes are safe. That's a safe place.
No.
They have to be a safe place.
It felt like you were expressing an opinion.
No, it wasn't. Hate women? Are you kidding me? Love them. Not MAGA, by the way. These guys were not. You know how I know? I am certainly not left-wing.
Well, some of those truck parts are, I mean, you've heard it from Minnie, man. I mean, what would normally cost, $100 in a regular vehicle is $5,000 to $10,000 in trucks. It's ridiculous.
Prioritizes people, nationalism, racial homogeneity, nature, traditionalist ideals, etc. is one I agree with and would follow. Wait. Nationalism and national identity. Aren't these Mexicans? Hispanics?
I don't think that they were Aryans.
They're not Aryans.
San Diego Mexican is
so,
just like
So Hispanic, Mexican, something.
It's very whitewashed,
right? Something.
Mexicans
became Nazi and attacked Muslims. None of this makes any sense. These just seem like crazy people that did something awful. It's almost like to shoot up.
Well, now I got to go grab keys because the housing director's not going to be there.
They also hated Donald Trump. Like nearly every billionaire, he he was always a bought out. Oh,
yeah. They sell trucks themselves, whole trucks. So he's not. He gets a commission just for the lead on it, but they have an actual truck salesman. So he just does the parts.
You do me a favor.
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab the keys and do it myself, which means that it'll be easier to do the video.
I'm gonna start over.
Video thing.
Like nearly every billionaire, he was always a bought out.
So now I gotta reroute myself though.
To Judaism in 2017. In fact, Magatard Judeo-Christians either refused to believe or worship him, even more so for it. Part of me, I mean, and I understand why we're reading this.
Broadway
to irrelevancy in history. I think it's important.
Still,
it's important
PTA is
to
about
know,
the same.
I hate that we have to, because you're right. We have to understand motivations so that we can understand what's going on to prevent these things from happening.
Marketing, because marketing to these type of people is the best medicine.
Absolute idiots. Yeah, they're not going to be
idiot retards.
Yes. Once you described himself also as an accelerationist, I'll talk to you guys about this. Quote, I'm also an accelerationist. I believe that accelerating towards the destruction of our current
I'm hoping faster too. But the thing is,
for the purpose of a societal collapse is the only real way forward. That
I might just go get an extra key made for this building so I don't have to keep checking with her to get fucking keys.
How terrifyingly stupid that is. Because we've talked about it in the context of people that we wouldn't necessarily think would go and shoot at school.
So I'm gonna leave you guys running when I pull up there.
Acceleration. So we're gonna tear down.
Go in there and talk to the director.
What is the something else?
Ooh. They see that black Bronco right there? Looks just like the wifey's, although that's a stripped down one. She's got the one like the one on top.
Doesn't that look like a lot of people dying? A race war? Sounds a whole.
Yeah, if I get done early enough, I might have time to eat some steak.
So we can destroy this party. We can go on our vengeance tour, as some have said. That's incredibly dangerous.
The thing, though, is I would say that this is the end of the road that a lot of these open border sort of globalists wanted these people to reach.
Yes.
Because there are certain subsets of the population that are going to be more prone to violence as a first or second option, as opposed to what can we do to, combat this through other means. And once you start flooding Christian, mostly white countries, I'm not saying America's all white, but, a white foundational country, like the United States, and especially in the Western European countries that were even more so, with third worldists, with Islam, with people from the subcontinent that have no interest in being part of your society, but subsuming, you're going to have subsets of the population that take this option.
They feel like they have no other choice.
And they're wrong, and I will.
Yeah, I agree.
But for the media to look at this and be like, how did people ever arrive at this conclusion? They're complicit in this.
Yes.
The BlackRocks, the globalists, the Larry Finks that push this shit on people that don't want it, they are more complicit in something like this than someone like Nick Fuentes could ever possibly do.
Yeah, well, and it's a powder keg right now.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got disaffected youth. That's the heart. Like, that's where revolutions start.
Yeah.
That's how these things come undone very quickly, is when you look to the future and you don't see a future that's worth being here for. It's not that people just start unaliving themselves. They start fighting against whatever they think is the system keeping them from getting to a good future. And if that happens to be the Republican Party or the government at large, or corporate interests that buy up housing or do AI or data centers, then guess where they're going to point their guns? At those things.
These people are like, whoa, we got the online right and the incels and people like Nick Fuentes that are pushing racial divisions. Get real. You people created these racial divisions, wanting stuff like this to happen. And then you're like, I can't believe
that my plan is working perfectly. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yes, that's a perfect way to put it.
Yeah. And they also glazed North Korea, which is super strange. So if you want an example of a good communist country, then take a long look at the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. The DPRK figured out that if they didn't nationalize and keep themselves, then they would surely succumb to the Jews.
Whoa, a lot of Jewish influence in the Korean Peninsula?
Tons, man.
Really?
Barely escaped without conversion.
Yeah, they already have a good chili recipe there.
Other religions and peoples into becoming Jewish. I don't really see them.
And we do cheese taters already. We don't do baked potatoes, but we do
kind of sounds like it could be Korean.
Yarmulke?
cheesy tots, cheesy fries, all that
I
good
always,
stuff.
any word like that, it's like a pterodactyl. I just always say the other. It's just
I'll
pterodactyl.
invite you to their they actually have a special every day, a lunch special every day. I'll invite you to their Facebook page.
That's more Japanese.
Yeah. So is that more Japanese? Okay, fine.
I don't know
If you're gonna make stuff up, just make it up realistically. That's all I'm asking. The security guard, sorry, bring it back down just for a second. The security guard killed.
The wife loves them too. I go through a bag of
anti-Semite. Yeah, as this Facebook
Costco fries every 2 weeks with the wifey. She loves them.
Do you now understand why I did what I did?
Nice comfort food.
That's bad to post something like that. He still shouldn't have lost his life.
Let me find Red and share it to you.
I think he did.
Because I'm going to be taking over the Facebook page right now. They put up the daily specials.
This is just chaos for the sake of chaos. Right. There's no real point to any of this, and it's terrible. Someone posted on the meme, look up the translation for some of his speeches. Those Yehudis were degenerating the society, and he wasn't having it. I read lots of stuff about him. Aki was... AHK, what was that? Aki was... Oh, okay. Aki was on the right course of action. Abdullah responded to this faux show.
Yeah. I would hope so.
And also
she picked me, so...
We're finding some of this stuff.
Third oldest Nazi Mexicans killed a Muslim Nazi supporter because of white supremacy.
Nobody seems to... I think
I'm tired, Jared.
Nazis killed Nazis because of the Jews.
Yes. Yes. Does it make any sense to
There
you
you
guys? No. It's senseless violence, and the media, and again, we talk about this every single time. And let's maybe we can save the green streamer for sure if you want to. Yeah. We'll take some chat. I want to hear your guys' thoughts on the Massey race, some of the stuff that we laid out, some of the issues that we raised, obviously. But this issue right now with Islam in the United States, and kind of there is a pivot back to that issue because a lot of people were distracted by what was going on in Israel, what was going on in Gaza, in the region, Russia, Ukraine. And they kind of took their eye off the ball a little bit. And recent events have made it to where people go like, yeah, that's a consistent problem that we've had. There are problems that we've not been really looking at nearly as heavily. And a number of people are saying, well, it's just the Jews. They want to take your attention. No, we were talking about this. This is one of the reasons the show started, Stephen did the Quran Challenge back in 2008, 2009. That was one of the first reasons that we got connected. So it's a problem that we have seen consistently that we have to come to some kind of peaceful solution to. But if you tell people over and over and over again, the system is rigged, that voting doesn't matter, that just vote Democrats and this will solve the problem, what happens when it doesn't? What happens when Democrats get in and they make D.C. and Puerto Rico states, they pack the court, they get rid of the Electoral College, they lock you down in ways that you've never even considered before on social media and other platforms? Do you think that social media elites right now are going to go, oh, no, we're going to stand up to you guys? No. They want money. They want contracts. They want the ability to build data centers. They want AI to go forward unfettered. They're going to do whatever the administration bids them do, as they've done historically. Like, this will snap back so fast. And all of these disaffected youth, you think the Democrat Party is going to put in policies that will fix that problem? That'll make sure that big corporations aren't buying up homes? Maybe. All right. They didn't, but maybe they would. Do you think they're going to fix the problem with too many illegals coming into the country? No. They had the open border policy under Joe Biden, the worst it's ever been, it seems. They're not going to fix any of these issues. So what you're going to get is more of all of the things that we've been fighting against. More censorship, more LGBTQ stuff being pushed on kids. Remember the kids part? You're going to get more illegals because we want to have open borders. We need labor. We got to have this stuff. We're going to spend all this money on that. And then they're going to put a candidate forward but can't win. They do it every time. If I'm wrong, fantastic. But they do it every time. I haven't seen that candidate before. We asked Nick for a candidate. Didn't have the name. Maybe he's got somebody in the wings that he thinks is the person. Kind of seemed like that's what he was saying. Who knows? What happens when that person loses? What happens when you think the entire system is always rigged against you and you've been fighting it, you've been doing everything that you know, and finally we're going to get our guy, you don't get your guy? Force doctrine is undefeated. It does come down to, I guess I'm going to have to take this into my own hands and use force at some point. And what we're trying to do is not get to that point for a lot of people. And some people are going to go and do horrific things like this because they think they have no other choice. They're going to go and shoot up a mosque thinking that in some way they're pushing a narrative forward, or they're pushing back on the systems around them, or maybe just in this case they were crazy people that did a crazy, terrible, evil thing. We want to avoid that. Burning down the system does not avoid that. Burning down the system virtually ensures that. So before you say we should burn down the system, one, you better have a really good plan on how you're going to rebuild it. Two, you better have a really good thing in the rebuilding process to build around. And three, you better have a lot of guns, because it will ultimately lead to a very dangerous place. You do not know the kinds of things you were trying to do and what the impacts will be on this country. Stop. Build coalitions with the people who want to support most of what you believe, even if it's not perfect, and affect change. And then, if you guys have done this for decades, putting these candidates forward, and the public still doesn't like what you have
That sounds good.
maybe you're the problem.
I had the regular blackberry. So I'm not huge on zero sugar. I just
do people really want
I have
or not? Don't just blame them because they don't know.
Taste detector for anything, any artificial sugars, even Splenda, which is mostly
or at least understanding of the other
natural.
So just devil's advocate, and I do agree with you. You better have a plan.
And again, I don't even. I prefer cane sugar over corn syrup. So
well, sometimes 10% is right. Sometimes the 10% is correct, and you do have to take a stand. And I don't think that we.
Yeah, but the other building is you need an app to do it. I got to figure it out. I got to get her to send me the app.
Because Republicans can screw you over to a point where you're
add me to it.
And it is just immoral to do. If I'm in Ohio, am I voting for Amy Acton? Absolutely not. Am I campaigning for her? Absolutely not. I think that's really misplaced, and I think it is a little bit of lashing out that doesn't make sense. I don't know if I can vote for Vivek. I don't know if I can put a check mark out for him because of how much he does not actually care about this country and how much he wants it just to enrich himself and his GDP growth at all costs mentality.
Right.
After he said what he said about Americans, that is like Steven said,
it's almost like unforgivable.
I'm precluded from voting for him. I'm precluded from voting for Vivek.
Yeah.
So I get that. We are not shilling for MAGA. But if you do have two choices and you want to decide how you move forward, facilitating the destruction of the country without a plan it's asinine.
Yeah. And so we actually don't agree or disagree. I don't think we should just vote Republican every single time. But my mechanism for changing that is not to get to election day and go, I'm voting for Democrats. And neither is yours.
No.
My mechanism for that is going, every time a Republican comes into office, we get promised a whole bunch of stuff that we don't get, and there's a problem that continues to build and build and build and build. Okay, next time around, I'm going to go into the
thing is she doesn't even know how to program it right.
So educate myself on what
I'm gonna get her login. Thing is, I want to put it on the phone that I'm streaming on, so I got to figure that out too.
That I'm going to vote people into Congress that I like to make sure that they can get that done. Then I'm going to go down.
I'm still 42 minutes away. I got to go by there and get the keys. I'll bring my.
And what kind of impact can we have at a state level? My problem is when people go to the level of the president and go, he's responsible for everything. If I just vote somebody in over there who's going to be my guy, he'll be able to do everything. Well, not if he doesn't have Congress. Not if he doesn't have governors that are willing to put.
And it was freaking 89 degrees here yesterday, and right now it's 53 at 12:30.
From doing that. And he doesn't have enough support from his base to push it forward.
Our highs today are in the 60s.
Yeah, that is terrifying to me because I'm like, the governors wield tons of power in these states, and we've completely lost sight of that. So that's happened. When people make these arguments about we've been trying for a very long time to get this changed and putting towards these candidates, I just don't see it. But a couple of
it's going to be, it's supposed to get up in the 60s, but I don't even think it's going to do that. I brought my vest too, just in case.
Ensure that the Democrat is either closer or wins. Doesn't seem like much of a strategy to me. And every time you put forward one of your candidates right now, they get their butts kicked. I don't really know what you guys are doing. And I'm saying that you guys, the people that are on kind of that libertarian side, I think, and this is how I treat these situations, I would rather have the person that's going to do 90%, 85% of the things that I want, and I would rather work really hard to get them to see it my way on the other 10 or 15, instead of somebody's not going to do anything about it. That's a Democrat.
You have to be a realist ultimately. When it comes down to it, if your candidate has no chance as a third-party candidate, then choosing not to settle for the lesser of two evils is choosing to give in to the greater of two evils.
Yeah, well, today high 55. Okay, I know it's gonna be in the 60s. Tomorrow high 60. Friday 67. Saturday 68. It's going back up slowly, but we're not back up into the upper 70s till next Tuesday.
All right, hit me noodles.
All right, for the first chat, we've got 69. Nice. Question for the crew. I may not have always agreed with Massey, but I respected that he was willing to stand up to the party rather than just always be a rubber stamp. Don't we need more politicians then?
Okay, so yes and no. So this is the thing. That would be great if that encapsulated everything that Massey was and the problems that we had. I don't mind people standing up to the party. I don't mind people pushing into, like, it's probably had great effects that certain Republicans said no to certain things and had to be dealt with by the president and by other members of Congress to be able to get things through, because it helped shift towards whatever their interests were.
Object and road.
And that worked.
Object and road.
I've reported an object in the road. Thanks.
My problem with Massey is that it was like a principled no on something that we knew was going to happen. Like, you take away the vote that he Biden in the administration prior to nearly the same degree as he's trying to call out Trump in this administration, implying that he's protecting pedophiles on purpose. I have issues, but man, I just wish that it was a practical stance as well.
Well, I'm not in Toledo. I'm in Cleveland.
It's
only going to be 50 today in Toledo. It just bumped up to 54 here.
Walked around
Cleveland
talking about the death.
It's weird.
I think Ross Perot,
sometimes it's colder, sometimes it's hotter than Toledo.
Of his,
we're kind of protected by a little bit more land between us and the lakes. It's the lake. We're right on the western side of the lakes.
That says this is the national debt right now.
Of Lake Erie, anyway.
Doesn't really get anything done.
Cleveland kind of sticks out
issues, and so you can't just
into
get
the bottom of
the 11th hour and go, I'm a principal
middle of Lake Erie,
increases the debt, and not look a couple of months down the road, or really at that point, I think it was a month and a half down the road, where you're going to have a debt ceiling.
Yeah, that was ways.
Intersection, shall we say, where you're going to have to raise it, where the United States of America defaults on its debt, and just say, well, we'll deal with it.
It's gone back to where I can do an audio prompt rather than hit a bunch of buttons.
So that's my problem with it. I like principled stances. I just don't like impractical stances.
We get a piece of that too, and it's either we get a benefit from the lakes protecting us, or it picks up more moisture in the lakes. You know, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. So
that's a hard one. That is a hard one. Boomer, Lindsey Graham.
It just depends on what type of cell it is, or front.
For sure, yeah.
Cold low, or
good, I like Ted Cruz in some ways, and I just really don't like him in a lot of ways. That's what I'm saying. I'm kind of in the camp of, like, if somebody primary Ted Cruz.
It's telling me there's a cop half a mile ahead, but I'm really doing 74 and 70. They're too fucking me.
You have your senators in Alaska and Maine.
It's weird though. I have my cruise control set at 74, but the GPS says I'm doing 76. So.
Alaska, I think you'd have better effect at, but Maine, you kind of just the nature of that state. You if you're going to get a Republican, that's going to be the best you're going to get.
What you meant,
someplace like Kentucky.
Yeah, there's no cop to it.
Where
they must be moving around a lot because they're reported in all these little turnarounds.
Well, that's the thing that I would say. Like,
a lot of times they jockey back and forth between them.
I don't know why I keep coming back to this movie this series. I think it was From the Earth to the Moon. And they were trying to design, I think, the capsule that they were going to be in. I don't know the proper term for it, so I apologize for that. But the lunar module, I believe. And they were trying to design, they were like, hey, they need a window. And they were talking to the director of the program, and he goes, no, I just can't see it. And so the director left the room, and the lead engineer turned around to his team, and he said, okay, let's make him see it. And so they built a mock-up and had him stand in it and go, see, now this is why practically we need a window right here for these guys to be able to see out and line stars up to do some navigational type things. And he goes, okay. So mentally, for some reason, that stuck. It's like, oh, they didn't, when you walk out of the room, go, oh, that director, he just doesn't get it. I can't believe it. And it's because of this, and it's because of that, and it's because of this, and just kind of throw in the towel and move on. They're like, oh, no, we need to change something about how we're doing this so that we can get what we want. And that's what I think they need to do in these primaries. If your ideas are not getting traction, it can be sometimes that the system is rigged, but it can't be that every time. You may have to change how you
for sure.
this. You may also have to understand.
It coincides with the end of the month, too. They always say they don't have quotas, but that's complete bullshit. I got enough family and friends that are cops that I know that that's bullshit.
Right now don't really have anything there.
They're not direct quotas,
that's a problem coming up.
but if you don't get certain numbers, you don't get promoted. You don't get overtime shifts.
Going up. I'm against Israel.
Otherwise, fuck against. Oh, okay.
We have to file. What are you for? Tell me what you're for. How you're going to do it. So
what are we losing both lanes here?
Getting the right candidates to run.
Yeah.
If we get somebody who's the
whoa,
same,
man, I'm getting serious wind draft off of this truck.
It's not really worth primary.
Yeah.
Wow.
To
the right lane closed.
This is
Okay.
I need to work on too,
Let's
and I
get back
think
up
you'll
here.
a lot of
Let's
our
go around
audience too, is pay more attention to your local election and who you're voting in there.
I'm the worst, but that's true.
That's a horrible draft coming off that
I
truck.
can
Usually I don't get it that
what's
bad.
happening in Texas, right? With all the zoning where they're allowing mosques. And
Pepsi, huh?
Right.
Well, that was allowed by city councils
Figures.
to happen. How did those people get picked in the first place? Because no one was paying attention.
Yeah.
Or if you even go to
nobody prioritized those races.
No one paid attention at all.
Yeah, I mean, all my friends know
I
it.
would be surprised if there was a few thousand votes in some of these races. Or if you even go to my hometown, which I think the mayor is more of a ceremonial position, it's like 1,000 people, right?
Yeah.
You have to get someone to be the mayor. Well, this is a small town in southwest Kansas, about 1,000 people, and about 20 miles away from it, they built a huge dairy. Well, who do they get to come in to work the dairy? There's a bunch of Central Americans and a bunch of Somalians in the middle of Kansas, right?
Because they know dairy farming.
Well, because you can work them on a dairy farm for next to nothing.
Yeah.
Again, this is not part of our town, but it's sort of close to our town. And so they have children who have problems. And the mayor of our city wanted to build a group home to bring in some of those kids and keep them at that group home. So all of a sudden you would have a 99% white town, Protestant town in the middle of Kansas that was dealing with an influx of Haitians and Somalians and Central Americans because of an elected position or even an unelected position. That is how deeply local politics can affect your quality of life.
Yeah.
So pay more attention to that, and I need to, take my own advice.
Yeah, that's good. Good advice. All right, next chat.
All right, next chat.
I'm probably working.
Question for the crew with Massey and Cassidy now having lost their jobs.
I don't know. Me and Bill, we may do a barbecue or something like that over at his house.
Also potentially born into.
Yes. I mean, Massey's 77% of the time voted Republicans this cycle. Sorry.
Term cycles.
Yeah. So I think. I mean,
he says
but
91.
It doesn't matter. I mean, you're not going to get a Thomas Massey vote on a lot of these things anyway, so it's not like that's super impactful. But you know what? There was a time when people go, well, that's the will of my district. I'm not going to go against that. They've spoken. They've had the opportunity to, tell me. But Massey has quite a bit of time left in office, unless he wouldn't resign. I mean,
I'm sure his political endeavors are not finished.
No, they're definitely not. And people are like, Massey just run in 2028. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, and Cornyn still thinks he can win, so it's not like he's going to vote against Republicans.
Right. Cornyn's got a little bit more, but Massey being out as the just the candidate for the election, his term isn't up until next January.
Yeah.
After the election and after
we got to get Cornyn out.
I think he's going to be on his way.
But don't you know that's going to make James Tallarico win?
No, that's what I hear.
No, it's not.
No,
that's not. No. Twitter told me so.
Fake news, bro. Fake news next year.
Yeah, I know Edson is saying it too, but I don't think it's true.
Whoa!
Look at this.
Nice.
All right, next chat from Tom6996. Is being the enemy of good is being the enemy of good why we lose? The left lies that America First is unpopular, not that policies aren't America First enough.
Say that again. So the left lies that
when is Texas primary?
Policies, not the policies aren't America First enough.
They have their primary late.
A good situation.
Yes, gonna kill
to
this.
some degree.
We're just doing questions now, so we get this question answered. Oh, what the fuck is going on now? I want that. When is the Texas primary? So just giving me an answer, gave me top stories. Early June? That seems late, you know? We had ours back on May 5th. May 26th. May 26th. So it's next week. Day after Memorial Day. Oh shit, I gotta be in Ann Arbor next Tuesday. God damn it. Car on the side of the road. Oh, look at this Bronco. Being an idiot.
I've reported a car on the side of the road. Thanks.
Where you going, homie? Illinois plates. It figures. Actually, I'm gonna slide in right behind him because we're exiting up here in a mile. He was thinking he was whipping around some people, but he may be getting off as well. All right, we're gonna turn it back on Patriot Radio. Just checking messages. Right. Cool. Cool beans. Signal dropped. Again? No. Oh, that was old. It was 37 minutes ago. Just clearing off all these old messages off of my dashboard here. Ann Arbor. What? What's Ann Arbor? I may. I don't know. I don't know what my son's doing. He may be picking up some FedEx overtime too. I haven't talked to him about it. Oh yeah. Oh, the VA, Ann Arbor. Yeah. Yeah. I got to go get a CAT scan. CAT scan. CAT scan. Just part of my annual physical. Yeah, that's right. Ann Arbor. Yeah, I've at the VA. Apparently they don't do CAT scans right there in Toledo. I thought they did, but yeah, Tuesday, the day after Memorial Day, I'll be up in Ann Arbor. Yeah.
Coast Guard was the first branch of the military to seize a Nazi vessel and take enemy prisoners. The first one to do it was the Coast Guard. The first branch to traverse the Northwest Passage and the first to sail a ship right up the middle of the frigid seas to the North Pole. You were the first. You were the first to do so much. And that's not going to change. And now you have equipment. I think we can say definitely when all that new equipment comes in, Admiral, you have equipment the likes of which the Coast Guard has never had before. So you'll have many ships sailing up instead of one. You're going to be doing things that nobody even thought possible. You have on order. Some of it's already delivered, but you have on order the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no other Coast Guard. There's no other, frankly, Navy that has anything like what's coming your way. On September 11th, 2001, amid the rubble, dust, and debris, it was the Coast Guard that organized the largest boat lift in all of history, evacuating 500,000 people from lower Manhattan. That was a terrible day. The gleaming white hull.
Well, if I want to, I can go to a local hospital and the VA pays for it. But I actually like going up to Ann Arbor.
Nearly every major waterway on Earth. Every day, Coast Guard members plunge into
Give me a nice Sammy.
Oceans, rush onto roaring surfs, and do battle with Mother Nature at her absolute worst. Mother Nature, like few can imagine it even exists.
Get to go to Zingerman's. Look that up. Zingerman's in Ann Arbor, dude.
Into that storm, and you guys guys go into it like it's just another day of work. Nah, you gotta do it again. You fly into Gale Force.
It's an expensive sandwich, but it's fucking worth it.
Right now,
Huge.
live at the
Oh yeah, it is gorgeous. Lots of trees.
graduation in New London, Connecticut. We're right, they're wrong. That's the end of the story. The arguments in this
Nice
radio
campus.
program cannot be broken. Sirius XM Patriot.
They've already had their graduation, so most of the students won't be around, so it'll be nice. Not Zimmerman's, Zingerman's, Z-I-N-G, Zingerman's. Look it up, man.
It's our show, Mando Galatian. Hear it all on Channel 82 in the car and on the Sirius XM app.
At LendSeek, we know running a business takes heart, hustle, and sometimes
The wife's going to have me get her some cheeses there, too.
With our exclusive AI lending
Great Deli.
connecting you to over 100
Yeah,
lenders.
Zingerman's,
If you've been in
yes.
business for at least 2 years with a minimum annual revenue of $500,000, you can get up to $1 million in funding in as fast as 24 hours. No collateral.
Almost all their stuff is locally sourced from farms around Washington County, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
LENDSEEK.com. They can't tell you.
That looks like my old
you can see it. The stiffness, the anxiety, the slowing down.
Trailblazer there.
We do anything to help them feel better. My name is Mark Fox. I'm the founder of Arizona Health. That's why.
Oh man, my new stickers should be coming too.
Drug-free way to support mobility
for my son's car
system and promote recovery. No sedation, no harsh side effects. For dogs, for horses, for the animals.
Right now, his sticker shows expired, but
that's fine for
it's paid for, so
they'd do it for you if they could.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, my wife, and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Slater.
So when I ask, what is Odoo? What comes to mind? Well, Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo is a suite of business management software that some people say is like fertilizer because of the way it promotes growth. But, you know,
yep, that's the Reuben.
Odoo is like a magic beanstalk because it grows with your company and is
best Reuben I've ever had in my life.
But then again, you could look at
I like a Reuben. Had them in many different places.
Like building blocks. I mean,
I haven't had a Reuben in New York and at New York Deli, but it's probably as close as you're going to get.
You can build a custom software suite that's perfect for your company. So
it's like a $30 sandwich.
I guess Odoo is a bit of everything. Odoo
so I always get the double meat.
Magic beanstalk building blocks for business. Yeah, that's it. Which means that Odoo is exactly what every business needs. Learn more and sign up now at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
At Audio Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com. All right, are you into it yet?
Yeah, you're right. It better be.
Right? Dr. Ranch, the spin-off of Yellowstone. I mean, talking about a cultural phenomenon. Well, streaming now. Beth and Rip are back in the new series, Dutton Ranch. Streaming on Paramount Plus, Kelly Riley, Cole Hauser return. And this time they're taking on Texas as Beth and Rip begin to build a future together. Peace will have to wait as they face corruption, danger, and a ruthless rival ranch willing to protect its secrets at all costs. I love the quote, "Legacy's a beautiful thing, but only if it survives." Dutton Ranch, starring Cole Hauser, Kelly Riley, Annette Bening, and Ed Harris, streaming now on Paramount Plus.
You're listening to the Willpower Majority.
Well, I'll probably have to do the topic twice. Coming out of Trump's speech at the Coast Guard graduation. So, look, Kentucky's 4th Congressional District. Massey is out. along with Bill Cassidy and probably soon to be John Cornyn. Don't give me this crap about, Trump's iron fist control of the party. You think loyalty to Obama?
She likes all kinds of cheeses. She likes cheddars and Havarti and
the Clintons
Munster.
Yeah,
she likes all kinds of cheeses. The only kind she doesn't like is that I love is goat cheese, but she'll eat feta, which I think, she's feta, but then again, she's not a huge fan of blue cheese either. But I love blue cheese. I love all kinds of cheese. The stinky cheeses and the mild cheeses.
Level of command they do. There were very few Democrat defections. I mean, again,
Cheddar is her
skeptical of the Iran
is her favorite, I think, out of all of them.
Until Trump came.
That and feta. She really likes feta.
So the people of Kentucky 4 have spoken loudly.
Monterey Jack and Colby, yeah, those are good. Those are both pretty mild. So.
Leaned on the dotted line between questioning all foreign aid, including aid to Israel.
This guy knows I'm hearing that.
Maybe being a
one thing about having
this his toes in some of the Zionist conspiracy theories, maybe.
This hybrid is when it's in electric mode, it's so fucking quiet.
There's nothing wrong with questioning foreign aid.
People don't
look. That's what libertarians do.
There's another Illinois fucking Bronco, man. They're all over the place here.
You could say that the people of Kentucky 4, which is a large part of rural Kentucky, are the Jew haters that the Northeastern establishment media probably think they are. And it's not like some establishment rhino was put in place. Galbraith seems like a pretty damn conservative guy. I think they're going to be in good hands. Notice I don't endorse him. But I will say this, in the beginning, and the big question now is who's going to be?
Oh yeah, Irish butter cheese. Hell, Irish butter in itself is delicious, nice and salty, and
who's gonna be rich. The person?
That's what I use. Most of my butter needs is Irish butter.
On principle, stands.
Kirkland has a nice spreadable tub of it now, rather than getting the blocks.
Yeah, he had a very different style than Ron Paul, let's say, and certainly Rand.
There's no. It's pure butter.
Even
it's not
Ron Paul puristic Rand
corn oil
negotiates too much. But look, it's one thing to have, hardened libertarian views. It's another thing to start to lean on the opposition and fight with the president just to fight with him out of spite, which we've seen from all sides. We saw it with John McCain. We saw it down
with Cassidy. Nice crusty bread.
Cassidy was all in favor of action against Iran until he lost the primary. Now he's going to vote with the Democrats to try to restrict the War Powers Act. Remember McCain with his vote on Obamacare? Spite. But I'm just going to say, maybe I'm breaking with some of my colleagues and friends in this business. Maybe I am. I like the libertarian influence. I like the libertarian views of constitutionalism. I like the fact that libertarians are more absolutist, yes, in view on spending. But when you're not willing to negotiate at all, when you're just obstructing to obstruct, that becomes part of the problem. And I think for a lot of people, that's why they were like, look, it's time to push out Messi. But I will say, I want to see more of that libertarian influence. Now, I care less that Cornyn lost his primary. Cassidy. And likely Cornyn's going to go down too. Now, Julie wasn't even close to Louisiana. Julia Letlow beat Cassidy by 20 points. It wasn't even close. 1-695 Patriot 957-2874. I don't think Massey. He hinted last night at running for president. Okay, I thought that was a bit a bit bizarre. I do want to play the clip, though, and I don't think it was a good look for Massey to. I don't know what he was getting at here with Gallrain. Like, is he saying that Gallrain, a former Navy SEAL, is some kind of, Mossad plant or something? Play cut one.
Listen, I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Gallrain in Tel Aviv.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time.
That doesn't sound very honorable, man. Wow.
Welcome to the most expensive congressional primary ever in the 250-year history of this country. It's not just the most expensive. This thing went on longer than Vietnam.
No, it didn't.
It started 9 months ago, and they didn't even have a candidate, and they decided they want to take me out.
You can even hear when he said that about Tel Aviv. You can hear some of his own people like, "Oh, it's not a good look." And if that's the side he's being seduced by, I don't think it's going to work out for him in the long run. Again, there's nothing wrong with questioning foreign aid to any country. But, when you start to go over that dotted line, now, truly, I don't think Thomas Massey hates Jewish people for being Jewish. He's an MIT graduate. He's a robotics engineer. I don't think he's like, who are these Jews? But it seems to be very seductive. When you start to bring up Israel, you start to attract a different crowd, is what I'm saying. White's at 695, Patriot 957-2874. We are right. They are wrong. That's the end of the story. The arguments, you know how this goes.
Well, I don't think Massey's a rhino.
Yeah,
he's always professed to be more libertarian than anything. But
I'm going to bring this back up after the top of the hour. But
when you're obstructing the president's agenda, which is what we voted for, you have to go. I like a lot of Massey's stance. I just think he's a moron when he thinks that Israel actually paid for his opponent.
It is not his executive order. It is the DOJ.
The IRS and the DOJ said it's I say an executive order. I should not use that word.
But that is part of a settlement for leaking Trump's tax returns.
Yeah, right. So now they get a blanket ticket to break the law.
No, I think they're not pursuing any previous claims. I don't know how legally. Do you think Joe Biden was allowed to pre-pardon people?
No, we're not talking about pardons now.
People weren't upset about that when Biden created some fake power to pre-pardon people who could then go on to commit crimes and never be charged.
How?
I read Josh Bernstein's piece in Politico this morning. They're talking about previous. As part of the settlement for leaking his private tax information.
Okay,
I don't think it's going to be blanket in the future that Don Jr. and Ivanka can violate any tax laws they want and they'll never be charged with anything.
Yeah, but that's what they said. They're not going to go after his family for breaking laws.
But what laws did they break? What laws did they break? So far, we learned in the leaks of his tax returns that he actually paid all the taxes he was supposed to pay. So I don't know what you're complaining about.
Listen to what they were saying.
I read the piece. I don't know what more you want me to tell you. Thank you very much for the call. Dan, Wisconsin, you are on the vote count majority. Hello.
Yes. I was wondering if you think it's right or wrong. It's only yes or no that Trump pardoned the traitors on January 6th, the MAGA.
The traitors.
And now he's leaving the door open to giving them money for beating up cops. Is that right or wrong?
Christ.
Right or wrong?
You don't get to make the rules of this radio program. You don't tell me how it's going to be. Okay? It doesn't work that way. I'm not switching the subject. There is a different answer. How about you let me? There is a difference between the people that were accused of committing acts of violence against law enforcement officers and people that were just snapped up for being there. People that had their Sixth Amendment rights violated, who didn't get access to counsel, who did not get a fair and speedy trial. Okay? That's a different ballgame.
No, Dan.
Yeah, it is.
Wide open.
It is. When you have people that are unfairly treated and unfairly targeted by the government, who labeled them insurrectionists, but didn't even charge any of these people under the insurrection statute. Do you understand that, right?
I know they beat up 50,
I want your yes or no answer. You understand that? Nobody was charged under the insurrection statute, right?
They didn't beat up 150 cows.
Look at the video.
I was told the MAGA animals and they're insurrectionists. Except it's kind of clear. Okay, none of them were charged under the insurrection statute. Right. Okay, they're traitors. All right. These were people that were invited in, that walked into the Capitol, being waved in by the police, and they were thrown in prison. Second hour next, Sirius XM Patriot.
Hey, John, what's the glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check them out. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies for seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value for your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
Small business funding approved and funded same day? At a bank, impossible. At Cardiff, it's the norm. My name is William Stern. In 2004, I built Cardiff to make it faster and easier to access business funding. We believe that if you have the revenue, you should have the capital. And that's why we've made it possible to get your business approved and funded as fast as today. Since 2004, Cardiff has funded over $12 billion for American small businesses, helping owners grow without the red tape. Our online application takes less than 5 minutes with absolutely zero impact on your personal credit. If you've been in business for at least a year and are doing $20,000 in monthly revenue, you could qualify for up to $500,000 in same-day funding. Don't let the big banks slow you down. Go to cardiff.co/SXM. That's cardiff.co/SXM. Real growth, fast funding.
It's blocking the fucking turnaround there. That's crazy.
Never get old. Celebrating America 250. Sirius XM Patriot 125. News this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. President Trump is crowing about the outcome of yesterday's primary.
Quoting the president, I know how to win. I think I've proven that. Suggesting that he's batting 1,000, Mr. Trump writes on Truth Social that all 37 of the primary candidates he endorsed across a half dozen states.
I know it is, but that's what the Democrats have been pounded, and there's been no retractions of any of that. So it doesn't matter all this evidence that is coming out now. They don't care. They're ignoring it. So I don't even argue anymore. I lost a YouTube channel over reporting on January 6th. Just so you know that. I lost my first channel because I accurately reported on it. I had friends that were there, and I was pulling their direct streams from being there. Yeah. investigate. I mean, even things I disagree with, I'm going to investigate. I'm going to put real, both side investigation in. All right, I'm back. I know disconnected right at the end there. I don't know how much you heard of what I said. We're back. Give me a second.
And working every single day to make this the most popular program offered by SiriusXM Radio because it's based on one thing and one thing only. And that is rational thought. So welcome to the Willpower Majority.
The fuck, dude? Look at this idiot parked here, taking up 2 fucking spots.
All right. We had a caller at the tail end wanted to
Fucking red Jeep.
Trying to debate me on this issue of this weaponization or anti-weaponization.
Look at this shit.
Fund that's been established. Didn't the Keepsake case? There was a settlement that Obama, the DOJ under Obama, it was like $760 million. It was supposed to go, I think, to Native American farmers, and then it ends up just being funneled.
Yeah, I lost the channel. I'll talk about it when I get back. Just give me a second. Turn this around so you guys can see outside.
And by the way, before you get upset at this thing, more money
was
stolen by Somali fraudsters than is ever going to be given to anyone from J6 who had their Sixth Amendment rights violated. Joining the program right now is my friend Julie Kelly, declassified with Julie Kelly on Substack, and she was the one-woman clearinghouse for all things J6 prosecutions. How you doing?
Good, Andrew. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Okay, so you had people right? And it's almost seemingly unacceptable for some of the people that are screaming and yelling about this. We're not defending people who were accused of getting violent with police officers, even though there were Capitol cops shooting rubber bullets into a peaceful crowd. But we're not dealing with that. We're dealing with people who were swept up in what was called an insurrection. But no one was charged under the insurrection statutes. And you had hundreds of people that were denied their Sixth Amendment rights for over a year. Talking about those people.
Right. Well, I think even those who were accused of assaulting or interfering with police officers, it's amazing, Andrew, to see the brazen hypocrisy right now. It's okay to assault an ICE officer. It's okay to assault an FBI agent in Washington, D.C. if those officers are involved in a deportation proceeding. We've seen this happen. We've seen Democratic politicians and the media defend those sort of assaults. But yet, when it came to even minor confrontation with police on January 6th, you had these same people who called them insurrectionists and wanted them thrown in jail for the rest of their lives. So I think it's important to put this in context with what we're seeing now. You can assault, attack a federal courthouse in Portland for weeks and months on end, and nothing happens. You can attack federal ICE facilities, say where I am right now outside of Chicago, and that's encouraged by Democratic politicians and elected officials. However, they are so fixated on what happened for 4 hours on a Wednesday afternoon on government property. Now, 5.5 years ago, the overwhelming majority of J6ers faced low-level misdemeanor offenses simply for exercising their First Amendment rights. Nonetheless, they were tormented by Chris Wray's FBI and Merrick Garland's Department of Justice, bringing charges that had never been brought before political protesters before, thrown before D.C. judges who unanimously agreed that January 6th was an insurrection. And then for those who refused to take a plea deal, put before D.C. juries made up of 100% Democrat voters who hate Donald Trump and his supporters with a passion. Basically, no vetting of these jurors. I sat in jury selection several times where these D.C. residents were openly expressing contempt for the president, crying over what happened on January 6th. But the judge finally extracts from them, but you can be impartial, can't you? Oh, yes, I can. Okay,
Wait, who was the judge? Was it Boasberg? Who was the judge that basically said, you've seen enough of the footage? The prosecutors will provide footage, and the defense attorney's like, we have the right to see every ounce of footage here. You don't have the right to tell us what evidence is going to be made available. Was it Boasberg?
I think every single judge did that.
Okay.
I mean, the DOJ was permitted to cherry pick surveillance video and body-worn camera footage off of D.C. police. They cherry picked it. They introduced that as discovery. When defense attorneys would come back and say, we need context here. We can't have 12-second snippets. We can't have 18-second snippets. Let's see what happened before. Let's see what happened after. Let's show the police misconduct that day that led to so many confrontations. I posted body-worn camera footage today.
Fucking vice president of the company was in there.
Police officer.
That's weird. All right.
To stop this.
All right. I'll probably just have her meet me at the other place.
To be a victim.
She's not even here, but I got directions to get the keys. So.
Like a stormtrooper had to arrive here using his baton, shoving people, hitting people with his baton, just as he's approaching the crowd. These people were just standing outside on Capitol grounds, doing nothing wrong. That's one example. Now, was that sort of evidence introduced during these trials or court proceedings or sentencing? Absolutely not. So, Congress finally did release a lot of surveillance video. We now have, thanks to Judicial Watch running a lawsuit in Washington, permitting the full release of all body-worn camera footage from that day, which will show the American people once again.
Oh, what the hell's going on up here?
Acted that day.
Street sweeper while it's raining? Is that what that is?
Thing, Andrew, from start to finish, from what happened that day through the president pardoning J6ers.
Yeah, because the director wasn't there, but he got into her office so I could get these keys.
And I applaud the president for taking another courageous, compassionate move, pardoning most of those people, and now setting aside funds so they can at least partially be compensated for the massive personal financial losses that they
fucking street sweeper
at the
while
hands
it's raining.
of the DOJ and Chris Wray FBI.
You can't make shit like that up, man.
Let me ask you something. We learned that that the Southern Poverty Law Center, to justify its own existence, was funding the American Nazi Party. I mean, okay. I guess if you own a business across the street from a landmark, and you find out that landmark might be going away, you might be like, well, if I don't buy the landmark or do something, my business is going to go down. It was kind of like for their own existence. And we found out that they were providing material support for the so-called Unite the Right rally.
Correct.
Will we be surprised at all if they were providing some material support to subversives that they sent into J6? That wouldn't surprise me one bit. I mean, we have seen videos of Antifa people changing into MAGA gear. And just because you're wearing a MAGA hat doesn't mean it's not anyone can go out and buy a MAGA. Like, oh, look at this guy in a MAGA hat. Yeah. Hey, do you really think that these people are beyond false flags? Again, they were paying for the American Nazi Party, $3 million. They put on the Unite the Right rally. They sent those idiots with the tiki torches in there. I wouldn't be surprised if they're behind this Patriot Front thing. You know what I find fascinating about Patriot Front? They roll up in U-Haul trucks. Right? Nobody sees where they're going. Nobody asks to see, the U-Haul receipts. They're all wearing matching uniforms, all have the same build. I mean, they're connected to nobody by name in the conservative movement, but the media, man, look at these conservative, they're Nazi-like people. Conservatives aren't Nazis, we're not socialists. But none of this false flag operation stuff would surprise me. It would not surprise me if J6 was bought and paid for by the Southern Poverty Law Center.
I think it's a really good question. How many Southern Poverty Law Center, what they call sources, right, were involved in the events of January 6th and the Whitmer Fednapping hoax, which, of course, they had protests in the spring of 2020 at the Capitol building in Lansing. Those optics very similar to what we saw.
Need some grass cut out here. All right, I'm bringing you in with me once I get it unlocked. Just give me a minute.
Sources, what do they call them? Information sources. They have some name for them, but basically plants and
Is it confidential informant? Like a.
The Southern Poverty Law Center had a different name for them than, say, informants, which are confidential human sources at FBI lingo. That's what they're called. But look, we know in both Whitmer and January 6th that there were FBI informants. Several of them involved in the Whitmer Fednapping hoax. Several involved in January 6th, even months before what happened at the Capitol. They had FBI informants embedded in the Proud Boys. They had FBI informants embedded in the Oath Keepers. They were part of inciting a lot of this dialogue, this chatter that was then used as evidence against these defendants in J6 trials. I mean, Andrew, we could talk for days about what I saw in those courtrooms, what I read, what these judges allowed. Are the people, the 300 plus people who were charged with 1512C2, the post-Enron document destruction statute that the Supreme Court overturned in June of 2024, you're telling me those people, many of whom went to jail, some of whom were held on pretrial detention on that felony count alone, they're not entitled to compensation from the government for what that Biden DOJ did unlawfully using an accounting fraud statute for a political protest? I mean, and again, you can go back to the assaulting police officers, all these federal misdemeanors who nonetheless spend time in federal prison. And as I pointed out, Andrew, we're worried about this figure
Be right back.
that the president came up with. What about the billions that have been spent on the lawfare over the past 10 years, not just against the president and everyone around him? The J6ers, pro-lifers, the surveilling of parents protesting at school boards. Who knows how else? Arctic frost. How much did that cost to subpoena the phone records of sitting members of Congress, including powerful U.S. Republican senators? Will we ever get a price tag on that? None of these people were complaining about the cost back then. Now, all of a sudden, they want to be frugal and claim that this is some sort of payoff to Trump supporters and some sort of slush fund, when it won't even come close to making these people whole, Andrew, for what they went through.
I was just going to say that, the president, the old saying, where can I go to get my good name back? These people, what drives me bonkers, and I'm not a lawyer, but if you're going to call the case an insurrection case, then it should be charged with insurrection. Okay? These individuals, and on a sidebar, my all-purpose advice is if you're at an event like that and somebody goes, hey, let's go into the building, you should go, no, I'm good. All right.
And let me know if this disconnects. All right, cool. I'm packing though, so. All right, there's a locker there. Fucking tiny ass cord. All right, let's get the laptop ready. I don't have any outlets to plug into around here. Oh, there is one down there. Cool. All right, let me set you up here for a second. Hopefully the phone don't fall. All right, cool. I set up my laptop. Go from there. No. Cord right there. All right, are we still connected? All right, that's done. Just plug this in. I don't even want to know what the current code is. I'm just gonna set up a new one. Ooh, shit. Oh yeah. What's going on up there? Did I lose you? There. Switch it over. Oh, can't. Gotta get this going first.
Oh, do the shit. Okay, we're working. Good. Cool. Mm-hmm. The UI stuff. And okay. Let's get this plugged in. Short ass cord. Nice. Oh shit. What the fuck? Okay. I finished booting up, I guess. Oh, there we go. Have to set up. Bam. There we go. Just watch it. Yeah. I'm gonna switch once I get the Wi-Fi going here. I'm gonna switch it over to my laptop. I don't smoke the battery on my phone. Let's see. Name it. Okay. Yeah. I'll show you the piece of equipment in a second. It looks like a big old pill. All right. Configuring console. And then it's gonna have to do an update, I'm sure. With the, so yeah, I'm definitely packing. I don't go to these hoods not packing. Actually, a much nicer neighborhood than our larger one on the East Cleveland. This is southeast Cleveland, so it's not quite as bad. I have to plug it in. I've got my battery pack for the stream there. And I'll set up the TVs and stuff. I'll move this into the other room. Yeah, at least the lawns are cut here and stuff, except for this one. But they don't have anybody living here yet. Once they get some residents in here, that'll be one of their chores. I'm sure cutting grass. I mean, it's not much grass to cut, so these are little city lots. If you hear the humming, I got to sit up on top of a refrigerator here. I was putting the new firmware. It's doing the update already, so it's about 5 minutes of firmware updates. And we got to get online and go from there. There's no sticker though. Didn't grab that sticker. I'm gonna go check my truck real quick to see if I have a longer coax cord. Because if I do, I'm gonna move this whole setup up on top of that. That'd be a better spot, I think. We'll open up those outlets. Let me go check real quick. Do have a longer one. Oh, power cord's gonna be long enough. I think. Oh yeah. See if the power cord's long enough though. Hey Tiff. Catch you later. I appreciate you dropping in. Give a like if you can. You get a chance, get that Rumble going and give me a hello on Rumble. I need 3 more unique chatters. We're connected to Maryland now. Hey Mitty. Ooh, it's already updated. Well, it says 15 seconds left, so we'll wait till this is done. I'm gonna set up a guest network for the residents here too. Let's see. Available yet? Living Legends, there it is. Connect automatically. Sweet. Still losing coolant? That sucks. It says internet down. Ugh. It ain't gonna work if I can't connect. No, it's up down. Cool. Sweet. Damn. It's gonna make me log in again. Right. All right. I'm gonna wait a second because there's still another update it needs before I switch it over to the laptop. I'll move you guys over here where I'm sitting down. Set this baby down. Ooh, these Chairs suck. All right, let me pull a quick update on this. Update now. Make this disconnecting. Okay. All right, let's see if we can get that wheel cow going again. Andrew Wilcow. It's quiet in here. I think the last leak you had was a fuel leak, wasn't it? So. How fast is it dropping too? That's always the question. So, fuck. Bluetooth is connecting to the car, so it's playing inside the car. Let's turn that off for now, I guess. Usually it's just an easy switch. Let me see. Let's turn it off for now. Done. Why is it? There we go.
Everything would adapt for your comfort. Because as your life changes and your body changes, Sleep Number mattresses adapt and shift to give you personalized
Okay, so it's up to date. Let's see.
And now everything's on sale during our Memorial Day event. Save up to $1,200 on mattresses, plus free delivery when you add a base. Ends Monday. To experience a whole world of comfort, visit the Sleep Number store or go to sleepnumber.com. Sleep Number, to a good life sleep.
My name is Preston James. I've been a stock and options trader for 23 years. I used to be an active swing trader, but that all changed once I discovered my money press weekly paycheck method. These days, I'm a passive trader hauling in more cash.
Cool. Over a gig down.
Than I ever dreamed possible. I'm passionate about the
50
market.
megs up.
Keep it simple. My methods are changing thousands of lives, and I'm confident it can change yours. But let the proof do the talking by going to accountproof.com. That's accountproof.com.
That's working.
Revealing how my money press method grew a
these shares suck.
in less than 9 months. That works out to 5.8% per week. You'll see the proof right inside my real brokerage account.
Switch it over to
You can start on this same path overnight. You're 7 minutes away from changing everything you thought you knew about.
Just gonna blink out for a second, guys, while I make sure it's ready here. Rumble. Shit, I want to make sure I've done all my reboots of this thing before I. Here. Okay. I'm gonna have to connect some TVs upstairs too. I might just keep it on here for now. All right, cool. That's ready.
264,000. Text Patriot to 64,000 to get your 20% off. That's Patriot to 64,000. Lou Doherty, lobbyists for the Constitution.
See, since we're not going to be running from this, I'm going to go ahead and shut down.
We are going to talk New York governor's race. We're in the program right now. This is a pleasure. Bruce Blakeman, County executive. I grew up in the halcyon days of Tom Galano, so I know the county.
You disconnected anyway. Oh, I didn't have the idler on, so it shut off anyway.
Yes. Where'd you go to high school? Kennedy.
Okay. No, well, I went to Valley Street Central.
Okay, so what I always tell people about growing up along the Babylon line is there was no space between our towns, right? It was Lynbrook, it just Brockville Center, it just went in Freeport, just town. It's not like somewhere else where you might have a stretch of road between two towns. It was suburb, all the way through Nassau County. So my question for you, my first big question, and I'm old enough to remember when people were seeing these ads in the mid-'80s. Move to Boca Raton, 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom houses. I don't remember what they were going for, but obviously substantially lower than what you could sell your house for in Nassau County. And people started moving to Florida.
I'm going to have to rename this so it is going to disconnect it for a second.
Wealth exodus can the state afford with people like Kathy Hochul and Zora Mamdani?
Well, I was with Governor Ron DeSantis last night. He was in New York City. We were at the same function together. And Governor DeSantis was telling me how many more people he's gotten from New York that are high net worth individuals. They bought wealth with them. They bought jobs with them. And how he's very appreciative of the terrible record of Kathy Hochul because it's added to the economic development and the political power of the Republican Party because everybody left. Kathy Hochul wanted high net worth individuals to leave the state. She asked them to leave. And then when she found out that she had a big budget gap because high net worth individuals pay a lot in taxes and they create a lot of jobs, then she begged them to come back. So the fact of the matter is we are 41 in economic development out of 50 states, which is a disgrace for the former Empire State. And we have the highest tax state. Our utility rates are 70% higher than the national average. People are miserable under Kathy Hochul. She's the most pro-criminal governor in the United States of America. So if you listen to Ron DeSantis' achievements versus her failures, it was stark.
I'm old enough to remember Ronald Reagan speaking of Nassau County. When a Republican dies and goes to heaven, it pretty much looks like Nassau County. And he was describing the ideal suburbs, the one that I grew up in.
Okay, I got to set up a guest network here for it now.
New Jersey now. My wife's like, when are we moving to Florida? When are we moving to Florida? I always thought that people in the first wave of the suburbs fled the city's problems. Now it feels like the city's problems are catching up to the suburbs. And Kathy Hochul wanted to build like 800,000 low-income units. They constantly are raising taxes. I mean, New York it used to be you went to Nassau County because you weren't going to pay the taxes to live in the city and have a low quality of life. And now that's being spread to anywhere within arm's length of New York City and even parts of
set up Wi-Fi. There we go.
All the people, like you said, are
networks. Here we go.
Republicans. How does a Republican win a statewide race if all the Republicans are leaving the state?
Well, that's an excellent question. So first of all, as county executive in the last 4 years, I cut a $150 million tax increase from my predecessor.
When you do, I need you to send me like 3 people to come in, unique people to come and chat with me.
One of my budgets produced a surplus as county executive.
Fuck. I need an extension cord and stuff too. I wonder if I hit some here. All right, let's see. Create new network. Yes.
Throughout America, and I won re-election in a landslide.
Fine.
6,000 votes, 12 points, because I run a county the way that you describe our government should be. A government that protects our communities, puts one on us first, backs the blue.
Yes.
Make sure that they deliver efficient quality services without raising taxes and being fiscally prudent. So I have a great story to tell. My record is
Wi-Fi. Create new.
managing a large organization. Kathy Hochul's is straight F. It's a failure. People are miserable in our state. She's giving away $8 billion to illegal migrants who haven't earned a thing. They're not New Yorkers. They're not even Americans. And people are really upset about that. It's their taxpayers' dollars that she's throwing away. And that's why we've become like a magnet to steal, here in New York State, with every illegal migrant wanting to come here because they have free transportation, free food, free housing, and a free cell phone. That ends on day one when I become governor. We will no longer be a sanctuary state.
I was friends with Lee Zeldin before he was ever in the House of Representatives, and I thought, man, this is the guy when he was running. He's the guy. If there's anyone that's gonna win this race, it's gonna be him. Obviously, he didn't. But the problems are so much worse now. I mean, between Cuomo's handling of COVID, between Cuomo's opposition to hydraulic fraction, to her wanting to pay for abortions for out-of-staters, that one was really bizarre. I got to be honest with you. But what happened with what you're talking, I get it when governors say, look, federal immigration is a federal enforcement issue. We cannot use state and local resources. What I don't understand is when I see Democrats saying, I don't even want to work with ICE. Why would you want one more criminal in your community that you don't need to have? Why would you accept the idea of having people in the country not just illegally, but committing crimes in your cities and in your state, when all you have to do if these people have been arrested is tell ICE to come pick them up and remove them from the country, getting them out of your community? You see Democrats that almost sympathize with illegal alien criminals.
Well, here's things bizarre. So let's take my county, for instance. In my county, I have a comprehensive agreement with ICE, probably the most comprehensive in America. Kathy Hochul has threatened to cancel it on the state level. I will take her to federal court. Let's look at the results. By working with ICE, my police department, sheriff's department have removed in 1 year 2,000 illegal migrants with criminal records such as attempted murder, rape, robbery, burglary, gang activity, drug dealing. Now, where would Kathy Hochul like me to put back these 2,000 criminals? We made it a safer region. We made it a safer state by working with ICE. And guess what, Andrew? We didn't raid one church, one school, one hospital by working together with ICE. We did it efficiently, we did it smoothly, we did it safely, and we made our community, our region, and the whole state much safer.
So also, here's the question: what's your strategy for upstate? Because that's always a tough thing. Even though it seems like Cuomo was from New York City, Kathy Hochul was from the Buffalo area. But I always tell people when I've been in other parts of the country, like, you don't get it. New York City and central and upstate New York, the southern tier, all that, it's a totally different planet than New York City and even Long Island.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great state. It's very diverse. We've got western New York, the southern tier, central New York, the north country.
Start portal, open that up. All right.
New York City, it's a vast state with very, very different communities.
We will do a password.
Everybody is miserable under Kathy Hochul. Nobody likes what she's doing. They want a governor that's going to make them happy again. A governor who will cut taxes. I will cut utility rates in half. A governor who will have safer communities. A governor who.
All right, let me know. I'm available. I'll hop in. I would like to do as much as I can too.
She has failed in every metric, and that's why I have a big advantage over Lee Zeldin. He's a great candidate, he's a great guy, but he was telling people what Kathy Hochul was going to do. Now we have her record. Yeah. Now we've got report card, and it's straight F.
I thought, again, I thought he had a good chance at it, but the problems are now so much more worse that I think, as you're describing it, I mean, you look at a state like California. I mean, how much worse can it get out there, right? So their major cities are just so poorly run. The state is so poorly run. They have outbound migration, like probably that rivals New York and New Jersey. You know, we just elected Mikey Sherrill, who seems to be already out of her league. I would imagine at this point, look, you don't have to be a card-carrying Republican.
S2304, thanks for the follow. Please say hi in chat.
With the taxes. James Carville wasn't losing his mind. It's the economy, stupid. He's right about that. When you have a mayor of New York City who's running out people who are saying, look, I'm taking my...
Could you send that to my Telegram too? So I have it. It's not going to save in my chat. I can't copy it right now.
Yeah, but beyond, look, if you were a JFK Democrat, I mean, we play this speech of his all the time talking about cutting taxes. But if you believe in the social safety net, if you believe in the unionized workforce, you have to have a strong, profitable private sector to fund your public priorities. If you run out the people who pay the taxes, where does the tax money come from? People power and the Democratic vote doesn't just manifest things, right? Things don't just fall from heaven because you voted for something. There has to be an anchor to an economy. There has to be productivity. And
thank you. I got it.
Pursuing wealth in order to contribute the tax dollars. If they say, I believe it, you can roll your eyes at them or say there shouldn't be such things as billionaires, but you're going to find you're going to come up short, and then you're going to have to raise taxes on the people that you said were the people you were trying to protect from that.
Well, you're absolutely right. You got Mandami Dikami and Comrade Caffey working together to ruin the economy of what was once the greatest financial capital of the world. Union leaders and union members now are starting to wake up and realize exactly what you're saying. These people want to put the unions out of business. They want government to control every aspect of people's lives. And that takes management out of the equation, ownership, and it takes labor out of the equation. They want to run the whole show. Zilrun Mandami wants to open up city-run grocery stores that will cost 5 times what it would cost the private sector to open and 3 times as long. And it's probably going to be sold with a lot of stuff that nobody wants to buy. So the fact of the matter is, they have the wrong outlook on how we can make us a better, more prosperous state in New York State. Their values are un-American. They don't adhere to the Judeo.
Oh no, for sure.
That has made this a great capitalist economic powerhouse.
All they learn in prison is how to be better pedos too. And if it's a good place, they learn hard knocks and they don't make it out alive. But you don't get much of that anymore, unfortunately.
January 1st, 2027, we will have a common sense, reasonable Republican who has American values running the state of New York.
Again, I don't know how the outbound migration of high net worth individuals or even middle class people, right? I mean, look, I get it. Florida is great weather, and if you're retiring, it's probably something you would consider. But when you can't have New York State employees retiring in the state, right? I mean, you got New York City police officers, probably even Nassau County police officers, Suffolk County police officers that are saying, I can't afford to live in the state I protected on a fixed income. I got to go somewhere else. I mean, that's what if I were maybe a moderate Democrat, I'd be worried about. Like, hey, everybody's leaving. That should tell you the state is not being run very well. Let me give out the website. BlakemanForNewYork.com is the website. If you live in New York, I mean, do you really want more of this? I can't imagine that you're like, hey, this is great. I'm getting the quality of life that I expect for the taxes I pay. Maybe if you're super rich and live on the Upper West Side of Manhattan or, some old money mansion in Long Island, but for the most part, you're paying the highest taxes in the union, and you're probably getting the lowest level of quality and services from the state. All right, sir. We'll get you back on. BlakemanForNewYork.com. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it.
Nassau County Executive, where I grew up, where I rode my mongoose bike out in the streets until the streetlights came on. Right? That's how it was in the 80s. Sirius XM Patriot.
Recording is streaming now. All right, let me. Okay, let's save this for now. Actually, I can sign in every day. Every day. Yeah, they never learn. One way they learn is the ultimate price.
Eastern. We've got a lot to talk about. The SAVE Act. We've got all the election results last night. We've got a squad update. We've got an update on Mom Donnie's socialist hellscape in New York City. Some local reporting around a creepy kidnapping or kidnapper going out there trying to scoop up kids, new scams at the pump, and so much more for you in this
No, they don't.
morning show. I hope
They
you're
don't.
doing well. If you're doing well, let me know in the chat.
Where I was on vacation, most of them
Well, just saying hi.
didn't like to be around the general population. Their life was not
Was a referendum. Yes, there are a lot of people
all that
online
nice.
who have important
Let's put it that
issues
way.
to them. Issues that you would think if you lived online affect every American in the most personal and every.
I got to put some speed controls on the guest networks here.
Taken up by these issues. I have long said that many of these issues are exclusively online. That isn't to say that they're not important, but it is to say that they are not a part of the daily conversations like they are online in real life. And quite honestly, online is largely fake. They don't matter in terms of who votes. If what Twitter said mattered, Hillary Clinton would have won in 2016. If the number of dollars somebody spent mattered, Hillary Clinton would have won in 2016. And Kamala Harris would have won in 2024. The fact of the matter is, last night
I don't see where I can do speed controls.
Mega's not dead, and
the new interface, the UI on this fucking changes constantly.
Supreme Court races. Scott Presser, let's get right into it. Thomas Massey has been defeated. Turns out, when you run in a district that was plus 40,
there it is, speed limit.
Trump, mocking him, siding with
create speed profile,
and Candace Owens and all these people
without
to
saying,
smear the president. Turns out it wasn't a good idea. Turns out voting against the big beautiful bill wasn't a good idea. Turns out only voting with Republicans at a 77% rate when the rest of Republicans voted with the party plus 95 to 97% of the time. Turns out all those internet likes don't translate to votes. I knew this would happen. Anybody who goes outside and touches grass knew this would happen. Thomas Massey made a lot of waves online, got a lot of likes on X, talking about releasing the files. Surely he's going to release the files now, right? Surely he will use his last part of his time in office to release the files while he still has his immunity, right? Surely. Now, there's a lot of reasons that people are blaming Thomas Massey's loss on. Most of them are cope. The money thing, cope.
Fix this.
The foreign nation thing, cope. What it came down to was turning on Trump in a district that is overwhelmingly for Trump. You don't tug on Superman's cape, not in Superman's backyard. President Trump has vanquished his top nemesis, and we're going to talk about a couple other important races in this video, the Supreme Court, and some other big wins from last night, too. President Trump has vanquished his top nemesis on Capitol Hill. 7-term Republican Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky was handily defeated Tuesday by Trump's hand-picked challenger, Gale Rain, the Associated Press has projected, and we now know since Thomas Massey has conceded. Speaking to reporters on Tuesday, Massey blamed Israel. Could have seen that coming. If I was on X, actually, if you watch, I have a second channel called the Jeremy Hambley channel where I put out 3 videos a day too, and also live stream. You would have seen I predicted this last night. That's exactly what he would say. But this was an expensive race. More than $32 million flooded into the Northern Kentucky race, with Trump and pro-Israel groups backing the challenger, Gale Rain, and blanketing the airwaves with attack ads against Massey. I don't know how effective these ads really are in current year. I'm not saying they're ineffective. I'm just saying I don't know. Because when I see ads, I've already kind of made up my mind politically, but maybe there are people who are more willing to be swayed by these type of ads. Let me address a few things. First and foremost,
let me put this on.
This concession here. Let's talk about that.
I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find it.
Hang on.
Tel Aviv.
It's gonna go out for a second. I'm gonna switch you guys over to the laptop. Just give me a second.
Israel bad guy.
Can you hear me?
I am 100% open to being proven wrong on that. I really think that this country, whether you like Thomas Massey, you don't like Thomas Massey, I would love for him to start a third party. If you believe everything you see online, and I'm not saying like, you know, you can't just point at it online and just say, hey, it's spots. There are really people who...
Can you hear me? Good audio, good. Thank you. I'm gonna switch the other stream over to, or what I'm listening to over to the background too.
Commission.
Cool.
They get better placement in the app, access to more customers, including DoorPass, and Premier. These are your big companies, your McDonald's and whatnot. They pay a 30% commission. So meaning if your order is $30, McDonald's is going to charge you $39 to offset that commission. They don't make 30% less. They secretly charge you more, and it is 100% not clear in the app as far as my opinion goes. This is something that, you know, I think most people don't know. They order an extra value meal from McDonald's. They order a sub from Melio's, or they order, you know, whatever from their local diner.
If you could see it on your small device.
They're paying up to 30% more for that food just by using the app.
Right.
On top of that 30% you're paying, you're also paying fees, markups, tax, and a delivery tip to the driver. So most meals, I would say it's fair to say you're paying 50% more. A $50 meal costing roughly $75. In some cities, it's more than 100% more. Now, DoorDash doesn't directly mark up the menu items itself. That's why it's nefarious. Restaurants set their own prices on the platform and often increase them commonly between 10 and 30%. They could do more. They could do 40, 50%. You don't really know unless you are actively comparing the prices of the items in store versus what you're paying. This is also true of grocery items and things like that. This is why meals oftentimes look notably more expensive on DoorDash, because the restaurant is just passing the cost straight on to you. Then there's also the delivery fee. This varies by distance, demand, and restaurant. It's between $2 and $6. Then there's the service fee. We all know that from the music concert industry, which is complete nonsense. This is 10 to 15% of the order, which is a minimum of $4. So you're paying a minimum of $4 for a dubious service fee, between $2 and $6 for delivery fee. Let's just say it's $6 because it's probably most often $6. Okay, that's an extra $10. Then there's if you dare to have a small order, they're going to charge you an additional $2 to $3 if it's under $12. Why? Because they can. Then there's obviously other markups they do, Priority and Express, things like that, DoorDash Pass, all of the ways to mark it up. Simplified example is from rough numbers. Restaurant pays DoorDash between $6 and $12 commission. Customer pays $4 to $7 in delivery fees, plus $4 to $6 in service fees. So that's at worst an extra $13 on every order. Total to customer is often $50 to $60 plus. DoorDash keeps the commission plus customer fees, plus the driver keeps the tip you give them. You know, it is extremely expensive. Again, the markup items, again, like McDonald's, it is, you know, there was a study done for McDonald's specifically that showed users with full orders are between 60 and 80% more expensive to order on the delivery app. With tip, you are paying double for that meal you have from McDonald's. Still think it's better to order on the app? And let's talk about just the average spend. Let's talk about what the average American spends on these apps. Estimates the average American spend on food delivery apps like DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. This is not like grocery stuff. Between $1,500 and $1,600 per year. There's a widely studied data report back in 2023 by Upgraded Points with over 2,000 respondents that found the average American spends $1,566 per year on food delivery. This breaks down to about 3.7 orders per month on average. How many of you know somebody who orders DoorDash way more than 3 times a month? I know people that order it every single day. I know people that order DoorDash every single day without fail. Every single day. Can you imagine what they're spending per year? 5,000, 10,000? If the average is 3.7 orders per month, that's barely once a week. If they're ordering 5 times a day, that's 5x. So you're talking 5x 1,500, which is $7,500 a year on food delivery. If you would put that in a simple savings account,
all right, we got to fix something,
or a high yield savings account where you earn close to 4%, and you put that and you did that for 10 years, you would probably be a millionaire if you just got off the apps. Now, what's also scary is the now integration of Klarna. If you're not familiar with what Klarna is, it is a buy now, pay later application. Essentially,
that's crazy.
People are financing McDonald's.
You're financing McDonald's.
Klarna's U.S. base alone is between 40 and 43 million people. It's by far the largest in the market. Some sites report somewhere around 29 million, quote, served customers. Buy now, pay later for food delivery takeout is growing, but not super dominant yet. A Lending Tree survey found that 20% of buy now, pay later users have used those for DoorDash. Klarna is one of the most popular buy now, pay later apps. So a rough estimate. Let me just give you a rough estimate of how many Americans are financing McDonald's right now. I keep getting told that things are good. Now, people will make bad financial decisions all the time. This is, this is the American way. If just 20% of Klarna's 40 million users have financed food delivery takeout at some point, that suggests between 5 and 10 million Americans per year are financing McDonald's. Only about 6% of DoorDash customers use Klarna as their buy now, pay later option pre-partnership, on par with Afterpay. That was another 6%. But now DoorDash has partnered with Klarna. That was announced back in March 2025 and now makes pay in 4 deferred payments easier for DoorDash orders, often a $35 minimum. You want to order that pizza? You want to order pizza for that football game? Now you can order it for as little as 10 easy payments of $5 or 4 easy payments of $10.
Fuck.
Usage increases. By the way, some surveys show roughly 30% of DoorDash users they are open to buy now, pay later options. It is the absolute highest among Gen Z and lower income groups. I understand it being that way on lower income groups. They are constantly financing things. This is obviously the group of people that do payday loans, auto title loans, all these other predatory loans, things like that. But the concern is now twofold. And we're going to talk about the illegal alien problem too. Because DoorDash clearly, in my opinion, subsidizes illegal aliens, giving them a way to make money. Now, DoorDash, like other similar apps, Uber Eats and Grubhubs, they have many addictive practices built into their apps. And I hope after this video, you're going to actually go and delete the app. You don't need it. They use a mix of gamification, dark patterns, behavioral psychology, and data-driven nudges to encourage frequent usership, higher spending, and more retention. These tactics exploit habits like dopamine hits as rewards or fear of missing out, urgency or convenience friction to making ordering feeling addictive. Some of the gamification and reward loops that they do. Let me just give you a few things. They have streaks and challenges. Programs like DoorDash, streaks reward consecutive orders. Example, Saturday orders for escalating discounts, 30% off one, up to 80% bonus credits after more. This creates habit-forming loops similar to social media like Instagram and Facebook to begin daily logins, daily usage. It also uses push notifications around mealtime and many things like that. They also have these loyalty programs. DoorDash Pass or equivalents offer, quote, unlimited $0 delivery for a monthly fee with points, badges, and perks. Users often spend this to, quote, chase more value, even if it actually doesn't save them any money. Because remember, you're getting raked over the coals by paying 30% minimum more for your fee. So you don't have, a delivery fee of $4. They're still taking 30% as a commission, and they're still taking a service fee, and you're still tipping the driver. They'll do things like, if you order 3 times this week, you get 15% off. Again, off what is essentially a predatory program. There are also variable rewards, personalized deals, surprise discounts, or limited time offers that mimic slot machine unpredictability to force users to keep checking the app. They also have push notifications and personalized nudges. Frequent timed alerts like, your favorite restaurant has free delivery for the next hour, or order now for a special discount, are simply based on your habits and location. They create impulse triggers, especially when you're bored, stressed, or nearby a restaurant. There's also this thing called dark patterns, which I want to talk about. Roach Motel subscriptions, for example, easy to join, hard to leave. Dash Pass signup is simple, but cancellation involves multiple steps, guilt-tripping messages, are you sure you'll lose benefits, pre-checked renewal boxes, or buried options. Auto-renew with hidden checkboxes on payment screens is also very common. There's hidden/inflated costs. The menu prices on the app are often higher than in store. We talked about that. Urgency and scarcity, countdown timers, low stock vibes, busy now, order soon, which is all nonsense. Then there's default options and misdirection, pre-selected add-ons, confusing tip interfaces, or highlighted continue buttons that favor spending. Convenience as a hook, and they exploit the data. Not forget the data they collect that they also sell. Awareness helps break the cycle, which is exactly why I'm making this video. Track your spending, set app limits, time restriction, delete the app periodically. You can always reinstall it. Go compare in-store prices. These are all things that you can do to make sure that you don't get stuck in this like DoorDash loop. I also want to appeal to patriotic Americans who care about other Americans losing their jobs. There are many stories, reports, and controversies about undocumented immigrants, often called illegals, of course, working for DoorDash. A Senate investigation in 2024 by Republican Senators Marshall Blackburn, Mike Braun, and Ted Budd sent letters to DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Grubhub after reports that unvetted illegal immigrants were accessing delivery accounts. Concerns included account sharing, hijacking, lack of background checks, and access to customers' home addresses. They highlighted as risks to the public safety. Do you want an illegal alien being able to case your house under the guise of dropping off McDonald's? I don't.
All right, let me see if I can
I definitely don't. Outlooks like the New York Post and Daily Mail have reported on Venezuelan migrants, including some with gang ties, using the app, often by renting or buying accounts from legal workers. Stories of migrants using fake IDs or other people's accounts to deliver food. One case involved a California man arrested for making fake IDs specifically for DoorDash drivers. DoorDash has implemented slightly stricter ID verification to checks and combat this, but how many times do you see, Lily Mae as your delivery driver, and then someone who's probably named Shamiqua shows up, or Alejandro?
It happens to me. I get
DoorDash
names all the
is
time,
a predatory app, just like Uber Eats, and these, in my opinion, And they are set up to basically milk Americans and scam every possible penny based on the addiction that they formed during lockdowns. Do yourself a favor, uninstall the app for a month, maybe 2 months, and just look what happens to your available income. Not to mention, most of the food available on these apps is wildly unhealthy. You know, slop, seed oils, all sorts of, processed GMO foods, nonsense like that. There are videos out there of people confronting, undocumented drivers for safety. Stop the cycle, get off these apps, put that same amount of money in a savings account, or use it to buy healthy food at home. You'll probably lose weight, save money, and you will no longer be contributing to what is the fleecing of America. All right. That's that segment on DoorDash. Did I convince anybody to uninstall DoorDash? Did I convince any of you to pull the plug? They've been accused. Yeah, Met never had it. It looks like a real redecorating, not a green screen. No, I don't have a green screen. This is all real stuff. Never use it. What about the legit DoorDash drivers? Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with them.
But you're killing them.
I just want people to use it a little bit less. And you know what? The legit DoorDash drivers will get more orders if they get rid of all the illegals. Uninstalled it 3 minutes ago. Nice. Just did it. Nice. Just give it like a month.
Yeah, he answered my question. I said, what about...
So not a topic for users. We don't use it.
True.
Oh, no, we do. People use it. I haven't used it in a while. I used to use it to get pizza and stuff, and now I just go get it. I ride a Honda CRF 300 Rally, $10 insurance per month, and it's like $20 in gas. Oh, you're talking about delivering. I don't have any problem with people. I don't have any problem with people who deliver DoorDash. But if they get rid of all the illegals and the criminals that are in the DoorDash program, then I think, if you're good with it, you use it a couple times a month, it's whatever. You don't have a problem with it. If you're using it 3 or 4 times a week, you're probably losing thousands and thousands of dollars a year. I'm not saying you're a bad person if you use it. I mean, certainly there will be times that I'll get delivery food, but I just wanted to, paint the whole picture of what it really is. Some of the issues are subjective to the areas and where you live. That's true. Yeah, that's true. If you live in a especially rural area, you probably don't have illegal gang members delivering your food. Probably. Unless they dropped them off in your neighborhood. Probably. By the way, if you're tuning in for the afternoon stream, I'm going to try to turn these into 1, maybe 2 longer segments. Today, I just have the 1. But remember, I'm also live at 9 a.m. Eastern, right before Crowder. And I do the rapid fire news stories. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm here. We do rapid fire news stories with Melanie Mack. So we're still using the, we're still in both time slots. It's just the afternoon time slot on Mondays and Wednesdays I want to try to use for this kind of long form, like deeper dive, focus on one topic. And by the way, I'll take your suggestions. So if you have suggestions for next week, let me know in the comments. By the way, thank you, Wood907, for the Bitcoin tip. Very, very cool. Appreciate you. Shout out to the Rumble app. I love the double duty. The rapid fire mornings is awesome. I'm enjoying this while I can. Nice.
That is
and Introspector, keep up the good work. Yes, thank you. And sorry you got muted the other day.
Being a delivery
we fixed
guy,
that.
I'm a platinum rated driver.
Yeah, all of your Rumble rants support the show.
I'll get it delivered to my house.
And the number one way you can support the show is by going to thequartering.com/join and joining our members chat. You can talk directly to me. You can ask stuff about me. You can promote stuff. You can send stories to me. You can talk to other people in the community. I'm really, really hopeful that today after the stream, you'll head on over to thequartering.com/join and continue the conversation by talking directly with me. I answer all the DMs in there.
Throw an extra tip,
You can you can talk to all the other people in the community.
It's a long drive to my house from any of the places DoorDash delivers from. So it's not a convenient.
In a small rural town, it's almost cheaper to just get the food yourself because the charges are insane. I buy that. You should add a movie/show review section. I think it's in the. I think that's in the open Discord. I think that's in the Discord, just not in the members area.
No,
you can still go in the open Discord when you're in the members area too.
I mean, I'm just lazy. And
Airbnb might be a good topic.
Although
Airbnb housing illegals, that's actually not a bad topic.
Shifts, but I've been so busy with
Let me write that down.
I'm doing other things in the background here with Spectrum, so ignore me if I apologize if I'm ignoring what I meant to say. All right, so I'm gonna have to make a call.
I'm tapped out on my separate communities. Hey, I get it. Yeah, well, I'll do a little bit of deep dive into Airbnb and illegals. That might be kind of cool.
Right, so now
data centers, that would be great. That's a good one.
See if I can connect it to my phone number.
I like that. Yeah. Very cool. All right, well, I'm going to jump off and go get after my daily chores. And we'll be back tomorrow at 9 Eastern, and we'll be back at 2 Eastern with a full show with Melanie Mack.
He's done?
At 2 o'clock. So hopefully tomorrow we can see you for Melanie Mack, or I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 Eastern for the Rapid Fire Show, which is all of the news topics for the day. Sometimes that show runs close to 3 hours because there's usually so much to talk about.
What?
Lithium in batteries giving everyone psych drugs? What? Lithium in batteries? There's a connection between that? Gaza flotilla Israel scandal. I have a video about that later today. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, well, I'm going to jump off, and we'll see you tomorrow at sulfur mining and how it ties into modern battery packs. Speaking of batteries. Yeah, okay. I like that.
There we go.
We'll see you tomorrow at 9 Eastern, and then we'll be back at 2 Eastern tomorrow again with Melanie Mack for Tardcast. It's a little more fun, a little more lighthearted. So hope to see you all there, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Right. Now we got to find something else. Here, we'll just go to me for now. We'll get something else to run in the background here in a second. View shipping info. So now I got to start here. That was 5:18. Okay, so they're coming today, and they haven't come yet, I assume. Delivery update, Bedford Heights. Okay, they haven't come yet. Wait, that was yesterday. A few more details. That facility last night. Okay, cool. So they haven't attempted to deliver here yet. So I got to wait here until they come. All right, sweet. So we're going to be camping out for a minute. Gouverne's on? Well, still? He was on earlier. Unless it's a special broadcast. Let me check. Yeah, it's from earlier. I'll play his from earlier. That's what we'll do. Good idea. Yeah, that was from earlier. On locals? No, he's not even on. Robert. Yeah, Robert Govea. Well, I missed last night's too, but he's uploaded a few VODs. And then last night's Georgia election, bunker blocked, Trump rocks, rhinos, irons. This is from last night.
Yes. Hello, my beautiful friends. What an amazing day it is. It's election night. We've got some big updates coming out of a couple locations. Of course, Georgia is where we're going to dive in first. We have a big development. Yesterday, we saw that Brad Raffensperger, during the count this evening, wanted to bring himself down into a secret bunker in order to exclude the state election board and others from monitoring the elections, giving us all flashbacks to 2020 when they boarded up the windows. And so that nobody could see, they kicked out the observers from various political parties and they said, you don't need to come and monitor anything. You can just trust us. Now we've got a TRO that was announced this afternoon, courtesy of people like Senator Dolezal and others in Georgia are very happy about that. And we got some follow-up. So, you know those two judges, Shamiracle and the other one, who are running to replace some other Republicans there in Georgia? Okay. Well, the judge who was burying all of their judicial complaints is the sister of Stacey Abrams, another Georgian. It's another one of those stories, a big, happy family, and we're not included in it. So we're learning more about that. And Fani Willis is also now coming back into the picture because she filed another motion to have another judge recused off the case, a same judge who's running against one of her prosecutors who prosecuted Trump. Georgia's a mess. And so we're going to talk about it today and learn more about Shamiracle and her friend Stacey Abrams' sister. All coming up. Then Trump with a massive endorsement out of Texas. Rhino's very unhappy about this. John Thune was like, I'm John Thune, and was very disappointed today. So we'll listen to some of that. Some updates on Ken Paxton, the man himself, and celebrations out there in Texas. A very nice endorsement. So we'll see exactly what happened out there. And then we got some follow-up to this story. There were apparently 400,000 plus ballots that were shipped out in Maryland going out that are all problematic. You might say fraudulent or they were just mistaken. But when you send out 400,000 ballots, a portion of those people are not going to know that they were fraudulent. They're going to cast their vote. They're never going to get the memo that they need to do it again. And so some might call that voter suppression. We'll talk about it. And I've got a very fun clip today of Ted Cruz and Senator Hirono, known here lovingly as Sex Freak Hirono, because she's always asking questions about sex out there. Every time Trump had a judicial or U.S. attorney or any nominee, essentially, her first questions were about, indicting somebody. And so we've got a great stream planned today. And then, of course, we'll stick around. We'll see if we have any election returns, because there are some big primaries that are afoot out there. And so thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here, for watching the Watchers. My name is Robert Govea, if you are unfamiliar, formerly practicing criminal defense attorney, now practicing in the court of public opinion. And so we're glad to have you here. It is a lovely day, lots to get to. We always like to confirm that the tubes have connected themselves before we just jump in.
I need to check to find out.
And it looks like we're coming through loud and clear. What a beautiful day. All right, so lots of updates. Let's get right into it. Starting here. Georgia's secret election bunker now blocked. We know Brad Raffensperger is having a rough day on this news, but Senator Dolezal, who thankfully filed a late-night complaint yesterday in order to block all this from happening, declares victory. We have secured a temporary restraining order from Chief Judge Glanville, saying bipartisan members of the state election board and poll watchers will now be allowed inside Brad's bunker to observe tonight's process. And we remember back in 2020 when they were boarding up the windows in various locations around America, same thing was attempted this time, thanks to Brad, the same guy who didn't do anything back in 2020 and who was a beneficiary of a lot of that, what we suspect to be fraud. We saw that the investigations after 2020 were not investigated by his office. Brian Kemp was elevating certain people who were team players to become judges permanently, like Judge, what's his face? You remember who it was, Vic Reynolds, Judge Reynolds, and Judge McAfee is the other judge, who, of course, were appointed to become permanent judges when they played ball. Now, of course, they are trying to turn up the technology. They're trying to escalate this. It's no longer boards on windows. Now it's a bunker. It's tucked away in an emergency site. But this time, transparency wins, baby. The people of Georgia deserve honest, observable elections. And coming up, we're going to see just how problematic these elections are, because the judges, the people who want to be the judges, like this woman called Shamiracle, she was taking her case to this judge called Leslie Gardner. And of course, her middle name or her hyphenated last name is Abrams, because she is the sister of Stacey Abrams. And so it's one big incestuous, disgusting family. And we're going to get into the details here today. But here is the win, courtesy of Greg Dolezal. This is the same senator, state senator, running for lieutenant governor, who is been on this election fraud problem in Fulton County in Georgia for a long time. The same senator who was digging into Fani Willis and Nathan Wade and their little indictment love affair for a long time. He posted the excerpt from the order that just came down today, fresh out of the oven, right as the voting is beginning, saying this matter came before the court on petitioner's verified petition for a writ of mandamus, and Dolezal sued along with Christopher Mora and Kelly Gambrill and said, you can't prevent us from being there and being present to watch the vote. It's Georgia law. And so we read through some parts of the complaint yesterday. We got a quick order from the judge. Here's what it says. The court held an ex parte hearing, which means just on your one side basically was there, the other side was not there, on the morning of today, election day, primary day, for which petitioners were present. So Dolezal and others, their lawyers, were there. Now, the respondent had an opportunity to respond, but didn't. What a loser. So Brad Raffensperger didn't even show up for the hearing. Oh my gosh, this guy's a piece of work. Now, having considered the verified petition, the attached affidavits, and the exhibits, and the entire record, and it appearing to the court that immediate and irreparable injury, loss, and damage will result, saying the court finds as follows. Now, the court has jurisdiction over the parties and the subject matter of this action. This is an election case, and Dolezal and others were saying from the state election board, we have a statutory right to be here. At least one of us. They were proposing at least one party from the Republican side, one party from the Democrat side, come in, join in on the count so that there's no funny business. And honestly, it's amazing that they're not willingly, voluntarily being more transparent about any of this, because they've been living through the accusations and the allegations from people like us for the last 6 years, for crying out loud. Like, if you know that you're doing everything above board, invite everybody in, live stream the whole thing. Come on in here. We've got some tea and crumpets set up right over here for you. Here, have a granola bar, have some lemonade, sit down,
We'll
get
check it
comfy.
out.
We're going to be here for a while.
Not even
But they don't
following
do that. They just
This is from
apparently in
14
this
days
case don't
ago.
even show up, and maybe they're already in the bunker. So having considered the petition, he says,
They're
now
kind of like
the
Alex Jones
candidates,
network.
in this
They
case
kinda lose a lot
Dolezal
of
and the two
stuff.
other candidates, they have demonstrated
it out,
a
though.
substantial likelihood of success on the merits of their claim, saying Georgia law entitles us to be there. Brad is kicking us out. Georgia law expressly entitles properly designated poll watchers, quote, to observe the conduct of the election and the counting of the recording of the votes. Brad blown out. At tabulation centers and related locations, including the Secretary of State's central aggregation and reporting processes. And every time there's a win like this, every time Brad loses, you just ask yourself, wait a minute. If he's willing to violate, in this case, Georgia law 21-2-408D, and he's willing to violate subsection 379.11B and 483B, as we're going to read, and 21-2-30 and 21-2-31, if he's willing to do it in this election, is it out of this world? Is it ridiculous to think that maybe he did the same thing in prior elections? No, of course not. He's willing to do it right here, flagrantly, openly, right on its face. And so the idea that he was above board in preceding elections is a joke as well, because he's willing to hide it here. Why wouldn't he do it in the priors? So the judge says, all proceedings at tabulating centers, quote, shall be open to the view of the public. And it includes his central aggregation and his reporting processes down in his bunker. Now, the state election board possesses independent statutory oversight authority that requires meaningful, real-time access to these processes. So, and remember, the state election board and a lot of these fixes came after 2020. So the law was even looser back then. Now they've tightened it up to say, hey, we have oversight responsibility and we have the right to come in here and review all this stuff. Brad still says, I don't care. Doesn't even show up to the hearing. So petitioners will suffer the candidate's immediate and irreparable injury if relief is not granted. Election day is tomorrow, May 19th, 2026. And I'm pretty sure he signed that May 26 at 10 a.m. So maybe a little bit of a typo. So he wrote, in other words, he cited this, or maybe he was drafting this last night. I don't know, but it's today. Election day is today. And he signed it on May 19th, which is today, which means maybe it's today. Without immediate access for poll watchers and SEB observers, the transparency guaranteed by law will be permanently lost once results are tabulated, aggregated and verified, and reported. No adequate remedy at law exists to restore the status quo after the fact. And so the balance of the equities favors the candidates. And by the way, Brad Raffensperger is running today. And I don't think he's got a good shot at winning, but he's literally in this election trying to make it into the runoff so that he can be the governor of Georgia. So very curious that he doesn't want you to come in and observe the counting of his very election. So the balance of the equities favors the candidates. The requested relief imposes no meaningful burden on Brad. Open the door. All it does is requires compliance with existing law and statutory obligations. The harm to the candidates and the public from denial of observation rights far outweighs any minimal administrative inconvenience, which is kind of my point. It's like, why would he just not comply with this and save himself all of this trouble? Like, what a joke. And we're pulling up the Kalshi right now for governor primary. Let's see. Georgia Republican governor primary over on the Kalshi markets. And yeah, Brad's like at 6% right now. So Burt Jones is up top on number 1. Rick Jackson is number 2. Raffensperger is number 3. And so he's probably going to get blown out today, rightfully so, because he's a joke. But he won't even allow any meaningful access, even though the law literally says you have to do that there, Brad. Now, the public interest strongly favors granting this, as it's now happened. Public confidence in the integrity of Georgia's elections, particularly when the chief election official is a candidate in the very election being administered, depends on robust, independent observation of tabulation and aggregation processes. And so petitioners have satisfied the requirements of Georgia law for the issuance of a TRO, a temporary restraining order without notice. Immediate and irreparable injury will result before Brad can come in and be heard. And lawyers for the candidates have certified the reasons why notice should not be required, given the extreme time sensitivity of Election Day. So the judge says, it is hereby ordered that the candidate's request for a TRO is granted. And now, effective immediately upon issuance of this order and continuing through the close of election, Brad Raffensperger, loser, in his official capacity as Secretary of State, and his officers, agents, servants, employees, attorneys, and all persons in active concert with him who receive actual notice of this order are hereby ordered to do the following. You are prohibited from excluding or restricting properly designated poll workers from observing tabulation, aggregation, verification, reporting of anything at your bunker, election night reporting room, or any other facility where county results are processed, aggregated, verified, or recorded on this beautiful day. You're also prohibited from excluding or restricting the state election board designated observers from doing the same. You also are directed to immediately instruct all staff, contractors, and county officials under your supervision to admit poll watchers and SEB state election board observers into these locations and give them reasonable proximity and vantage points. You can't shove them in a closet somewhere. Okay, they need to see this so that they can meaningfully observe all activities without interfering with the orderly conduct of the elections. You're directed to take all necessary steps to comply with Georgia law. It's further ordered, no bond is required, and this shall be in effect until May 28th. And so the court will conduct a hearing on this May 28th at 1 p.m. in front of a different judge. And then, Brad, you can show up and make your arguments known at that date, time, and location. So ordered today, fresh out of the oven, signed by the Honorable Earl Glanville out of Fulton County. And so Brad's blown out. Now, big win, of course, and it really begs the question, why would he not want anybody to be there? In an election that he's administering, in which he's a candidate, in which he's also not doing so hot, according to Kalshi, down at 6% in the polls. So celebrations of victory. Georgia GOP first chair, vice chair, called Shaylee Grubbs, said thank you to all who preserved this and persevered, rather. Chalk one up to the good guys, and we're happy to see it. Now, another representative called Clay Fuller, he is representing Georgia District 14 in the U.S. Congress, said, after the Georgia Brad refused to allow the State Board of Elections and other members to participate, I officially requested congressional observers to take part in the process as well, saying transparency is a must and Georgians deserve to have faith in their elections. And so he sent this one yesterday before the judge issued this order, but he sent this one up to the Congress, right, to the federal Congress, the House Administration Office. He says, hi, Chairman Brian Steele. You know, Article 1, Section 5 of the Constitution gives Congress the ultimate authority to be the judge of elections. Now, with the passage of the Confirmation of Congressional Observer Act, federal law makes clear that those constitutional provisions mean that states are required to allow congressional election observers to access, quote, any location where processing, scanning, tabulating, canvassing, recounting, auditing, or certifying is occurring. And as you know, there have been concerns, I'll say, in recent years about the administration of elections and the lack of transparency in my home state of Georgia. I believe all Georgians deserve to have confidence in election transparency. And as such, I request that you designate appropriate congressional election observers to monitor all elements of Brad's election, including election night and others. Having transparency is critical, and no one should be afraid of oversight. I look forward to your reply and stand ready to offer my staff to serve in this role if needed. So what we're seeing here, I think a big takeaway is that the Republicans are learning how to play. They're not just sitting back and just ignoring, well, I guess we'll just have Brad come out and tell us what happened. They're actively getting involved, and they're not allowing the lack of transparency that permeated throughout 2020 to continue on, which of course is very good news. Now, one additional scam that's happening out of Georgia is of course involving Shamiracle. This woman and this woman are both running to be new Supreme Court judges to unseat current Supreme Court judges. Two ultra lefties who are fighting for abortion rights, have the endorsements of Obama and Michelle, also now have the endorsement of Kamala. Right here, she came out. She said, Georgia, you have a chance to send Miracle. And it's really hilarious.